Hold on.
So you have different
Wait. Can you
standards
give
for
me? Hold on.
all
I need.
races.
I
You
just need
don't
a
have
second.
one set of standards that you apply.
RV,
Hold on.
hold
I just need a
hold
second. Hold on. Let me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Jesus, please help me. Okay. We're not gonna lose it, okay, guys? We're holding on, okay? We're gonna keep our cool. Okay. Okay. Okay, guys, listen, okay? I am a new destiny, okay? I am new, and I am gonna try my hardest, okay? I'm gonna try my hardest to actively engage in persuasive rhetoric, okay? That's my goal. Actively
Yee
engage.
boy, my quality of life has gone down considerably since being a
Nice.
daily viewer of your stream. Stop being so addicting. Can we get 50 likes?
Actively engage in persuasive rhetoric. That is my goal, okay? I have a brownie here to help me. We're doing our intermittent fasting again tomorrow, okay? I need this now. Please wish me luck as I go on this journey. Please, Lord, help me. Please, Lord, keep me safe in this conversation so that I don't want to fucking kill myself. Oh boy.
Hey, there he is.
Hello, hello?
Okay, you're unmuted.
Hey, what's up, Destiny?
Hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Well, how are you doing, bro?
I'm doing great.
So, since we had you for that AMA, I've actually, become sort of a, if you will, pseudo fan. I actually agree. Let me just start off, nicely because that's, it's always better. Like, I agree with quite a few things you said. Despite any, personal malcontentions or whatever people may have about you, there's some things you say that are totally valid. And I actually noted that right before you offered to have the debate.
Oh yeah, listen, I was in an airport earlier. I was real grumpy, okay? Sorry.
Oh, no issue. Like people have, you know what I mean? Like it's all good, dude. You're a human, I'm a human.
Okay.
So, no problem. Yeah, so basically I really like your video about race realism. I think it's a great debate. I think you're probably one of the more sound, if you will. I don't know if you really identify with the left. Would that be a mischaracterization?
I don't care. I try not to use labels at this point because I'm kind of all over the place, but sure. Socially, probably mainly left-leaning, yeah.
We might actually relate there a little bit. Maybe to various extents. Needless to say, I saw that and I really liked the race realism debate. So I was like, there's got to be something about this dude, that I don't agree with. And when I saw Dankula, I'm not actually a big fan of his. I'll be 100% honest. The only time I ever became when I became aware of Dankula was when everyone did, because he had some dog that made a video and then they wanted to fine him and they fined him and whatever, right? There's a lot of noise made over a fine. Obviously, it comes into free speech territory. That's what we're here to talk about. So, I'll open it up with the fact that I didn't agree with the idea that interpolatively or interpolated data, whether it's video, whether it's stats, whether it's literature, whether it's whatever format it may be, I just didn't agree with your sentiment that wasn't evidence. And there's some more contentions I have under that, but I'd like to, underneath all of it, but I'd like to better understand. I guess where do you think? I'll open it with this. Where do you think free speech, the extensive free speech extent? Where would you say is a good time to stop speech, and where's a good time to allow speech, and where is that for you personally, based on what you see in the world?
That's a really hard question. I probably fall more to the right than most people on that. But then I have a weird kind of cop out, or not cop out, but I have a weird thing, I guess. So for me, I'm okay with more or less every idea being, I guess, legal, in terms of a legal sense. And then in terms of private senses, I like, what should Twitter or Facebook or whatever do? I think that most forms of speech should be platformed, if not all forms of speech. The only thing that, outside of direct calls for violence or coordinating violent actions, the thing that I don't like, that I am in favor of aggressively deplatforming, are people that engage in either deliberate misinformation or gross misuse of information. So, for instance, Alex Jones types, or people that spread essentially just fake information. Those are the people that I would be okay seeing gone and never coming back.
Okay. Just mentioned Alex Jones. You're aware that a court has acknowledged his character as a hyperbolic character.
Yeah, I don't care, but I'm aware of that, yeah.
Okay. So,
I
okay.
don't buy that cop out because talk radio hosts use the same thing. Sean Hannity or Rush Limbaugh will say things like, "Well, I'm not technically news. it's an entertainment," and it's like, yeah, but that's not really your place in society, and that's not really how people consume your media. And you're doing like a massive damage to public discourse, regardless of how you characterize yourself. Is what I would say.
Okay. Here's like, and this will get to the root, right? I kind of went in reverse. Here's the root.
Yeah.
I believe that your views on censorship actually impede what me and you, and I'm sure a lot of the people have as a common goal. I believe that violence, bad views, toxic, cancerous, hateful, bullshit, misinformation rich views should be allowed so we can debate them, discuss them, and never forget them. So we may actually align on the fundamentals and not on the praxis, and that's totally okay. And I'm prepared vehemently to substantiate why I feel this way. Can I ask you why you don't think maybe I'm correct in that sentiment?
Yeah, so I think that people in general are stupid, and I've actually lost my appreciation for democracy at this point, such that I don't even know if we should have publicly elected leaders, because people are so absolutely incapable of evaluating information that I think other organizations need to be responsible for doing that. And I would point to things like the election of Donald Trump. I don't know. You would have some policies in place or whatever from companies that would decide which media they want to platform or deplatform based on how they think that the information is being spread, or if they think that the information is truthful or not. It would be very difficult to do, but go ahead.
You would say you would delegate to the free market for something like this?
The free market is very vague, but I mean, I would say like the companies that are like Facebook or Twitter or whatever platforms are in charge of platforming people, I guess. Free market is kind of vague there, but like whatever social media platforms they are using, I guess.
I hate to ask questions. All right, so there's a study. I'm not going to ask more questions. Yeah, it's annoying.
No, it's fine. Okay.
The NCAC. Yeah, sorry. The NCAC published a study a while back. There was a summary of it, and I'd like to post it, but I would like to cite it first. Basically, in this study, they surmise that crime statistics do not support the theory that new media causes violence. Are you aware of the key findings by the NCAC on this? That actually censorship is prohibited by the First Amendment.
Well, so the censorship that I'm talking about isn't, right? Private organizations have a right to do whatever they want. Yeah. Which I know you understand that. In terms of like platforming certain speeches leading to violent acts, and you're saying that wouldn't happen, I would probably believe that. If platforming certain speech led to violence, I think we would see probably a whole lot more of it. My issues aren't necessarily to avoid violence, though. It's to avoid like gross stupidity is my problem right now.
I guess moreover, let me bring up a citation here, because you had mentioned. Do you remember during the discussion with Dankula, you had mentioned that right-wing violence outweighs left-wing violence. Now, I can actually agree with you cumulatively with multiple stipulations, and they are as such. Based on the Cato Institute's findings, and I can cite all of this, and I'm going to, because I hate when I don't like when people make empirical claims and they don't back it up.
Yeah, it's fine. If I disagree with you on a claim or whatever, we can dig through the data or whatever. But I mean,
77% of white extremist violent crime was committed by one attacker during one incident.
Okay.
You're aware of that, right?
I'm not, but okay.
Okay. All right. I will post the citation, but moreover, the cumulative average for violent crime in the name of either Black supremacy, anarchism, communism, or white supremacy are almost even per the ADL 2016. I'm going to post both of these citations should I do it in debate discussion? Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it in debate discussion. I don't want to flood past citations. The first one, Table 1, 5 most deadly years for domestic extremist killings from 70 to 2016. There was 184 deaths in one white extremist bombing. The next 4 listed there were actually motivated either empirically or circumstantially by another form of extremism. I would say Islamic, but I'm pretty sure there's one other in there. However, the main point is only one of those from 1995 was a white extremist attack. Moreover, what's really interesting about these stats is that left-wing and right-wing extremists almost match each other in totals to date, from about 65 to, 2016. when you had said that actually that right wing, it's totally I'm not coming here to do a gotcha. Actually, honestly, I just hate. I have a particular dislike. I won't say hate because I don't really hate much. I have a particular dislike for the fact that people want to present it like there's only violent lunatics on one side of this coin.
Sure. Wait. Okay.
And
Wait.
I'm not
Wait.
saying-
Wait. Before we get too deep into this, so
Okay.
I'm not super married to the idea that left-leaning people or right-leaning people commit more violent acts. Just based on because I'm susceptible to media influence. Just based on what I had heard, I assumed it was left-leaning, and then somebody had presented me with a study saying that it was right-leaning. And then I read that, and it seemed like everything in there was okay. So then I just kind of like ran with that for my conversation with Daniela. But I mean, I could very easily, if you have empirical data stating otherwise, I mean, I would switch my opinion immediately. I'm not like super attached to that idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're like if you think that I like very strongly believe in that or not. But I mean, if you've got empirical data that says otherwise, then yeah, I would believe you.
Well, I guess my ultimate claim issue here is that you posited towards the end of that debate that in fact the president, because of his auspices, should be now. I'm going to tie this all together because of his auspices as an office holder, getting our tax funding money and all the rest of it, right? As a president, he has a different set of standards to adhere to. Now, I'm sure you seem like an educated person. I'm sure you're aware that citizens in the United States have an actual set of duties to the country, such as voting, diligence, reporting, discussion of issues. All of these are actually laid out by the NCIS. They are a fact. They're literally, I think it's 10 or 7, I forget. And then the president has a subset. Now, in this hierarchy, citizen actually, this is stipulated per current law. Citizen does supersede that. The only time it doesn't is during candidacy particularly. And there's a few other incidents where it doesn't, for instance, like when impeachment, et cetera, et cetera. There's sometimes they can't exercise certain personal rights. However, basically they're allowed to. And I'm going to bring it full circle because I actually asked someone in this Discord earlier today, they hosted an AMA, asked the same person the same question. I said, how is it, right, that he receives this is a public candidate, right? And he's not allowed to talk on Twitter, right? He's not allowed to block people on Twitter, however, or should I say, talk is the same thing though, because speech would be blocking, or at least to a private citizen. Now, if he's an elected official and he's not allowed to block people, then Twitter is a public forum per legal definitions. And the issue I have is that this illiteracy to law is leading people to actually erect the precedent legally for Twitter to become the very thing that myself and I believe yourself don't want it to be.
Well, I'm like super lost. Wait, so what are we talking about right now? There's like a lot of there's a
right,
lot
I
of
know, I
statements
get
here.
it, right?
Yeah, so firstly, just to make sure we're on the same page. So
Sure.
in terms of like what Trump should be allowed legally to do, I would caution you to make sure that you don't mix up like moral or ethical arguments that I've made with legal arguments. So insofar as like Trump being able to say like fuck the media, I hate the fucking media, blah blah, like legally, I'm pretty sure he's allowed to do that. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. My arguments have always been more what ought he do? Like should a president behave in this way? I don't think so for what I would consider a strong set of reasons. But in terms of like making legal claims, if I have made them, then I horrendously misspoke. But I don't think I've generally made legal claims insofar as what Trump should be allowed to say regarding the media. I have made them insofar as I think it's technically illegal for like a sitting president or senator to like recommend the firing of an employee to other companies and shit. I think I've read that like in law. But in terms of like how Trump should conduct himself versus what he's legally allowed to do, those are two very, very different things, right?
How he should conduct himself and what he's allowed to do are different. Yes, they are. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
yeah, okay. Just making sure, because I don't think I've ever said that like Trump should go to jail for saying "fuck the media." I just think it's a very fucking scary thing for a president to say, but I don't think it's like illegal. Yeah.
So would you say your contention is more with actually like his character, or is that basically?
Well, my
your
contention is I think that Trump acts as a blatant fascist, and it bothers me that so many people that claim to be liberals or classical liberals or whatever support somebody that comes off as a massive fascist to me. The attacking of the media
off or operates as.
Comes off as I don't think the president technically has the ability to operate as a fascist within our current legal framework, but like spreads like fascist rhetoric. Yeah.
Okay. So his rhetoric seems fashy to you.
Sure, like attacking the media as a president is something that I'm very uncomfortable with, and I think that anybody that values any sort of freedom of speech should be very uncomfortable with the president attacking media.
Okay. Let me brought full circle even further. was a judge who ruled in this this person's AMA case, and this isn't. I don't expect you to know all the particulars. Person who he had that came for. Sorry, excuse me, that was a word salad. Person who came for the AMA. There was a judge in her case. She established precedent in the Southern District of New York that Trump was not allowed to block people because, of course, his page is deemed a public forum.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the interesting thing I heard you say during the Dankula, and you did. I'm not mischaracterizing you. I can go back to the time.
Mm-hmm.
You did say that I'm not for Trump deplatforming. I think you were alluding to him blocking folks. I'm not sure because I'm not really sure how else he could legally. Legally, that actually would, under current Southern District law, under their current ruling, that judge, what was her name? Shoot, I had it earlier. Murdoch?
I think I'm familiar with what you're saying, that it was ruled that Trump, because he's the president and it could be seen as like a public communications, that Trump isn't allowed to block people on Twitter or something. Wasn't that
right?
Uh-huh.
Right. And what I'm wondering is, it seems like we're establishing this fact that well, okay, it's a public forum when Trump wants to say something, but it's not a public forum when it's not convenient. That's what it seems like from the outset legally. And I actually was very, just to your credit, I was actually shocked to see you understand the law as it related to defamation. I was like, wow, someone actually.
Well, unfortunately, I
works.
had to deal with it a lot because I'm a quasi-public figure. So yeah.
Right. I was going to say, you do actually meet, I think, in some districts, the legal press. I mean, at least in half the country, they'd see you as a public. They might even see me as one.
Yeah. Because I've done this stupid shit in the past.
Right. You've done it for a while, so they would definitely try and hit you with it. But if they could, yeah. But my point is, I'm worried about the double standards here. That's obviously what I'm worried about.
Wait, what are the double standards? Wait, real quick. Okay, just because I noticed we're jumping around on like a lot of different points.
Yes.
Yeah, let's focus on
and we're going to wrap it all back together.
Okay. All right, go for it. I'll let you continue. Go for it.
Yeah. I'm worried about double standards here because if Twitter is indeed, right, if Trump's Twitter page is a public forum, right, one, if a judge can circumvent other court rulings, which this judge did, and stipulate such, two, and if she has a history of having her decisions reversed, three, by superior courts, the Second District Court in New York, which is much superior and has way better judges, and Dershowitz actually is linked to, I mean, it's a way higher quality court, has actually reversed this judge's decisions on not this matter, but another pertinent matter. I'm curious, isn't this sort of like in the realm of allowing the law to say what should and should not be heard, or am I off base here?
I mean, assuming everything you've said is true up to this point, that could be one way of reading it. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Did you see the table I posted? Because I do see someone, I don't mind referencing the chat here. Someone mentioned that I'm misrepresenting data that 44 to 67. What do you think about my table there? The orange table? Did you see it in debate discussion?
I didn't click it because I'm not married to like any argument I've made there. I could very easily be persuaded from one side or the other. And
right. Okay. Yeah. So you would say you're pretty fair in that there's extremism on both sides.
No, I'm saying that I could be persuaded. I don't think I would make that statement, but I could be persuaded from one side to the other, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Sure. How would you be persuaded without looking at my citations if you're not married to any idea?
Oh, well, because I mean, because I didn't know we were going to, I'm not ready to have that in-depth discussion. I can't just look at like one data real quick and then this is my new opinion, I guess. Because digging through that data is kind of complicated, which I'm sure you would acknowledge, right? So for instance, like you might provide a source that says that, some percentage of violence is done, but then you have to look how they calculate the violence. Did one person outweigh, a ton of violence from other people? So it's kind of being misrepresented for one side, or is there some data point that's being presented and it's taking into account the last 50 years of violence, but it's heavily weighted where recently right-wing violence has been worse than left-wing. Like, I'm not saying that you're misrepresenting anything. I'm just saying that I would like to like look into it before I like develop an opinion on that. And I'm not like prepared to have that discussion right now.
Sure. So I actually went ahead and posted a part from the ADL second set of sites real quick, just so everyone in chat can see it too, if everyone wants to look. Second set from an ADL. So since, let me just see here, as of 2016, 10% acts of extremism committed in the name of white supremacy, 7% anti-government, 12% black nationalism. Anti-abortion extremism doesn't register a percentile, and domestic extremist-related killings in the U.S. by perpetrator affiliation in 2015 was 23% for anti-government, 42% for white supremacy. That was a high year. I'm not saying it wasn't. right? There's actually some truth to your side in the data, and that's my issue, is there's some truth to mine as well. And yet I am being accused of misrepresentation, but it's in the facts, right? The black
Yeah, we're just reading my chat real quick. It sounds like going through my chat real quick, it sounds like what they're upset about is they're saying that the vast majority of recent political violence has been done by right-leaning people, and that if you include the last 50 years, that's the only way you can make it even. That's what I read from someone in chat. I don't know if that opinion is true or not because I haven't gone through it myself, but...
Yeah, the Cato Institute, and this is the second citation. The 1995 Oklahoma City bombing, excuse me, the second deadliest terror attack in U.S. history after 9/11, killed 168 people and accounted for 70% of the murders committed by nationalist and right-wing terrorists.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if we take out one insane Catholic guy that hated the government and wasn't actually, I mean, like, you know, I'm not convinced that Timothy McVeigh's motivations were 100% racist.
Okay.
I know that those were elements of his writings. I'm very well aware of that. Yes. However, I'm not really convinced. I don't think I'm not sure if anyone else is convinced of that. Maybe. Again, if we took that out, and even if we didn't, the percentages are hard to ignore on the other side of the coin. Very hard to ignore. If we go over to Europe, it gets even worse. They kick people's doors in. They burn people's homes to the ground. I resent the implication that the left isn't being violent and that, I mean, here's my thing, man. I know it sounds corny, but two wrongs don't make a right. So even if we have a bunch of, let's assume there's 3,000 Nazis down in fucking Alabama getting ready to take their torches out and do some stupid shit, right? Let's assume that. Let's assume that's fucking true. Doesn't change that there's a bunch of Antifas throwing masks on, getting ready to do the same. And I hate both. I really do. I don't like people that need to hurt.
Yeah, typically when I talk about political problems right now, I'm more looking at like the overall threat to society, not who's committing like violent acts. They seem like such like outliers to me that I'm not generally concerned. I'm more concerned with like policy positions, I guess, which is my issue with conservatives. But I mean, it's totally possible, I guess, in terms of violent activity that that both sides engage in it. I would be surprised if it wasn't the left engaging with it more as well, because the left seems to want to fight the status quo, which seems like it would lead you to violence. I don't know if that's actually true, how it plays out empirically, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that was true at all, sure.
Okay. It's all, dude. Okay, cool. All right. So let's dive in here. Now, if indeed, both sides are committing violence, this is where I'm bringing it around. Would censorship, in your view, mitigate it? Potentially?
I don't know if censorship would have an impact on people committing violent acts or not. I'm not sure. I've never thought about that. That's not my goal with censorship.
Yeah, I can actually give you some research on it. According to Oxford, Pennsylvania, and ICC in Illinois, it does not. It has absolutely no effect on the amount of violence in society. Mm-hmm. Violence is portrayed in media, whether it's news, virtual content, drama stories, TV. Now, there is even a
hold on, wait, real quick. Okay, so two important points. So one, my goal, if I was to be like the master censor person in the U.S., it wouldn't be to stop people committing violent acts. It would be to stop the spread of misinformation. That's what I'm primarily concerned with. But secondly, what you just read, that doesn't sound like it has to do with like people spreading harmful political ideologies. It sounded like it just had to do with like violent media in general, like video games or movies, or I could be wrong, but that's what that sounded like.
Yeah, actually, from Pennsylvania, I just posted the citation. Mm-hmm. They actually are referencing literally censorship as it correlates to, yes, entertainment that is political. Yes, that is per pen. That's what I just posted. Everyone can take a look at that. And then and I can read it. Yeah, I mean, this is going audio. So yeah, one area where these threats are used to enforce censorship is the practice of imprisoning people for criticizing the governments of countries.
Wait, okay, hold on. I got it. 1 second. I'll read it. 1 second.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, journalists throughout the world are routinely put in jail or even killed for publishing stories, shed negative light on government leaders and their decisions. It prevents citizens of those countries to get an accurate and honest look at the political regimes they live under. It also invokes freedom of journalism. Some of these countries really censorship in these countries goes well behind just their borders. However, the 2014 Seth Rogen comedy The Interview heavily criticized the government of increase. Wait, what does this have to do with? That sounds like it's not very much related to what we're talking about in the U.S., no?
Well, I mean, it is because what I'm proposing via this literature, and this is just one, I can bring out the other ones. They go all over the place because they reference culture, they reference political. I mean, it doesn't change much depending on how.
I'm just curious. Can you just shoot me this original study, because this sounds like it's talking about censorship as in like the government literally like killing journalists. Like it sounds way different than.
I'll send you it right now. No problem. Here we go, and pen and penny here. Yeah, no, it's actually it was more so it's more about the this paper is actually more about the repercussions of censorship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I
Okay, yeah,
wanted
wait.
to-
Okay, hold on. Okay, because it's very important that we understand these terms, okay?
Sure.
Censorship is a loaded word, and contextually, it can mean many different things. So, for instance, Doobie banning me from this Discord server is a much different kind of censorship than the government imprisoning me for an offensive thing that I've said. So just going through the second paragraph of this, one area where these threats are used to enforce censorship is the practice of imprisoning people for criticizing the governments of countries led by dictators. This sounds like...
Yeah, the second citation brings up a little bit more, brings it a little bit more into like clarity, because yes, it is talking about that initially, and then it digresses further. I posted the second one, here really quick. The drawing of the Prophet Muhammad had deadly consequences. The purpose of these episodes was to illustrate the extent of the double standard that exists when depicting the Prophet Muhammad. In the same episode, this is talking about a South Park episode. In the same episode, the Buddha is shown snorting cocaine, and many other episodes, Jesus has been shown doing a wide array of sacrilegious actions. Almost every celebrity, noteworthy figure, blah blah blah. The chilling realization may unfortunately be true. As those who believe in freedom of speech, however, we must do everything in our power to ensure that violence and terrorism do not win.
Okay, wait.
No
So
greater view of freedom of speech has ever been given than Evelyn. And I want to know what you think about this. I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to your death your right to say it. Now, that sentence, right? If we go back to Alex Jones, having that guy around prevents, in my opinion, that statement. Why having him around prevents more of him from existing? Because we all used to make fun of this guy. We all knew what he looked like.
That's not true. There are a lot of people that take what he says very seriously. That QAnon shit has a lot of people that believe in that shit. Like, there are a lot of people that believe that Sandy Hook was like a false flag. That's not true, that people don't take him seriously.
Right. No, I'm not talking about implicit. Right. That's actually teetering on the verge of. He's actually with some of those. He's actually teetering on the verge of legal, implications.
Sure, I don't care about the legal stuff at all. I'm only looking at just morally or ethically. Real quick, okay. So just going by real quick, like this censorship in society. This seems like it's just a blog post. It's not like a big study or anything, right?
That's just a paper. Yeah, that was just a paper. I have studies.
Okay, sure. And then just real quick, I'm sorry. When you initially brought up that censorship, if I'm ever talking and I mischaracterize something you say, you can cut me off immediately. Okay, don't let me finish. Okay. So it sounded like the impression that I got earlier was you stated that censorship can actually lead to people being more violent, or rather, censorship has no impact on whether or not people, or rather, I'm sorry, I'm trying to be very, very clear here. If there is harmful media, censoring that doesn't make people less violent, and that media existing doesn't make people more violent. It seemed like. And now it felt like what we were talking about were ideologues or demagogues like the Rush Limbaughs and the Sean Hannitys and these types of people. But now you're sending me links of like political censorship via like governments imprisoning people. This is like a much different topic.
Right. No,
right?
I was simply giving you a reference to the negative aspects from a multiplicity of possible sort of perspectives from culture.
Okay, wait. Yeah, I understand. Real quick. That was a lot
of
the
effects and fallout with.
Yeah. I understand. Those are a lot of words, but like these are monumentally different things. Like these are not even the same topic. Like
how so? How are they so different? How is censorship so different? I'm just curious.
Well, because in the United States, we believe that private companies have the right to do what they want with their platforms. That is their freedom of speech. So if Facebook wants to ban someone, they can. The government.
How can you legislate Donald Trump? Wait, how can Donald Trump be regulated on Twitter, as you just said, a private platform to operate under public auspices? You don't get it both ways.
Sure. So my understanding is what I thought, and I don't know because I didn't follow this case very closely because I don't care that much, but what I thought was that the judge stated that because the White House has said official statements can come from Twitter, that official like White House related statements can come from Twitter, that means that the president of the United States is not allowed to block U.S. citizens from accessing those statements. That's what I was under the impression of, right?
Right. There was a contrary ruling in a court down south that, and I believe, and yeah, we don't have the ruling on this yet, and we don't have to go there, but there was a court in Texas and down south, I believe somewhere like South Carolina, Illinois, someone can check me on that. A judge actually ruled quite inverse.
Yeah, so then it'll go through.
A city public official has the right to block.
Yeah, I'm not a judge. I can't tell you like which ruling is better, but I mean, I imagine it'll go through the Court of Appeals or something, and then eventually it'll.
Well, which ruling do you think is better?
Which ruling do I think is better? Should the president? Yeah. That's so complicated. We're at a very complicated intersection of of shit here. I'm not even sure. Right now, I'm undecided on if things like Twitter or Facebook should even be considered private platforms. I've heard very convincing arguments for both sides, so I don't know where I fall on which side of this. I'm really not sure. I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other right now.
Okay. So do you think censoring people with bad views prevents their views from being accessed or spread?
In general, I don't know. I would want to say yes. On the internet, if you censor something, will it prevent people from viewing it? I mean, those kinds of views can still fester, but yeah, I would probably say probably, yeah. It would probably prevent people from accessing it. It would probably reduce the number of people that believe it, sure.
So now, okay.
To be fair,
real
quick, just to be clear, okay, because I just want to continue to reiterate this. I have never in my life, and I don't know why I reiterate it because a ton of people still attack me for it. I have never in my life said I want to get rid of people with bad views. If you're Richard Spencer and you hate black people or you're race realist, blah blah blah, whatever, I'm okay with all of those people having their platforms. I just don't like people that lie or misrepresent data or misinformation intentionally or with gross negligence. Those are the people that I don't like. I'm just reiterating that point. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and what do you think of, say, okay, so now we'll actually go right to the claim, right? Because you're like, well, the pop culture thing is a little unrelated. Okay, let's go right to Oxford here. Instead of seeking to prevent the expression of statements thought to be false and misleading, there's an obvious alternative. Support the right of others to make statements on controversial issues, even ones judged false and misleading, while vigorously contesting their claims. In the Australian vaccination debate, an alternative to censorship is education, of members of the public, especially parents, about vaccination so that they can make well-informed decisions. This is citing Leask et al. In 2012. Now, this is like, and they open this paragraph from Oxford. I can link you it, no problem, because I would like you to have it, actually. I really would. Let me give you the opening. Consider the potential ramifications of the view that the government should intervene to stop the expression of misleading information affecting public health. This raises a series of questions. First, who decides what constitutes misleading information? I would like to know that too. Is there some official body that adjudicates such matters, and who decides the membership of this body? Secondly, what measures should the government be able to take against those who express information judged to be misleading? These are the
wait, real quick, just because I'm trying to be very, very, very clear about what I say. Sure. I have never stated that I want the government to take action from these people. And if I'm being unclear here, I'm sorry. Please, if you ever want me to be clear, just ask me. I'm just saying from a private platform perspective, I would be in favor of Facebook or Twitter or other social media platforms getting rid of people that engage in this type of either gross negligence or dishonest manipulation of information.
I thought it was a public platform.
I don't know.
I thought Trump was using it as a public platform. Which one is it? Is the platform public or is it not public?
Okay, hold on. That's a false dilemma. Okay,
it's a false dilemma.
Yes, it's a false dilemma. So
no, he's a citizen.
No. Okay, so he may or may not be a citizen, but when he's acting from what I understand, the judge made a ruling saying that because Twitter statements can be official statements from the president, you cannot block somebody as the president on Twitter because it's a violation of some presidential bullshit. That doesn't necessarily mean that Twitter therefore becomes a public platform. I don't think that dilemma is real. That either it's completely public and Trump, isn't allowed to ban people, or it's totally private and Trump can do whatever he wants.
And that's the dilemma. If the posts are public, now we're in the realm, right? And I see this Super Devin there saying his posts are public, not the platform. That's the posts exists on the server, on the platform, legally under literally the Fourth Amendment interpretation and adjudication of data act since the early thousands up to now, how this has been implemented. That actually does meet statutory precedent. It does.
If everything you're saying is right, then a judge will probably overturn it later on in a court of appeals somewhere, I imagine.
Those posts are harbored on a private server.
What does that?
They aren't kept anywhere else.
What does that have to do with anything? I imagine most White House stuff is probably
server, on. Then the platform's private until it's not. They can't have it both, and that's my issue with what you were saying. You can't have it both ways. It doesn't get to be public just because you say his posts are public.
No. No one is saying that the platforms themselves are public. Just that presidential statements made on Twitter should be treated as public, and that he's not allowed to ban people from or prevent people from accessing those statements by blocking them.
It's definitely vague, and the vagueness lies in the fact that let's say it was, and I'm not even super Trump, honestly. I'm almost, honestly, in my own circles, I'm almost like very critical of Trump, and people give me shit for it all the time. So whatever. But anyway, my point is, okay, if it was your pro candidate, you're very happy with what they were doing, you were very, very satisfied. Wouldn't it be a little scary if someone could simply say, well, no, that's public. So now you don't have the same rights as everyone else. That's too bad. shitty.
No, I mean, if you're the president of the United States and statements that you make publicly are supposed to be available to all Americans, I mean, I can see that being a reasonable ruling. It's not scary to me that you would want the president to make statements in the capacity of the president and every citizen should have access to those statements. That's not a scary thought to me at all, no.
Yeah, until they can compel something. You don't see how that could easily be misused.
No, can you give me an example by way of which you think this would slippery slope itself into something that I would disagree with? If you can do that, then I probably agree with you.
Yeah, they've banned various commentators that aren't actually these private companies, allegedly private but not private sometimes, companies have banned people from speaking that haven't even implicitly violated their terms.
Okay, but we have to be careful not to mix up. Whether a private platform bans somebody or not is different than a judge making a ruling on it. So you should be in favor of anybody being able to be banned because they're private platforms, right?
Right. Until we're going to say that they are sometimes also public.
No. We're never saying
or that their use should be somehow governed via some interpretation of the person's publicity. This isn't codified in the statute. So I'm just curious why this notion exists, and I don't know why that judge ruled it. I have a bone to pick with that judge. Yeah, I would think you'd be into. I would really think you would look at this and say, wait a minute. So some judges believe that it is indeed okay and private use and private platform and a private citizen using a private platform, but some judges, like the New York Southern District judge, believes not. It just is a slippery slope. I mean, if ever a legal lexicon quantified slippery slope, that would be it.
Okay, all right. So this is what I'm aware of. Twitter is a private platform, okay? This means that it is not government controlled, it's not publicly funded, it's not publicly owned. Twitter is a private platform, which means they have all their First Amendment rights and blah, 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 blah. Citizens taking part on Twitter have all the rights to engage with that platform in any way they want. Now, the president, being the president of the United States, when he is making statements as the official capacity of the president, and the White House has said that things taken on Twitter are meant to be official presidential statements, the ruling that I'm aware of was that if the president of the United States is making these statements on Twitter, he cannot block users from accessing these statements because that would be harmful in a democratic sense. Now, where we disagree, hold on, wait, where we disagree, because we've been, hold on, because we're talking in circles for like the past 20 minutes on this. So what we disagree on is just because the president is told that he's not allowed to block people on Twitter, I don't think that necessarily means that we're now treating Twitter as a public platform. I don't acknowledge that jump. You have to make that jump for me. That because a judge says the president acting a certain way, the president can't block people from accessing presidential statements on Twitter, that all of a sudden now everything has to be treated in terms of public on Twitter.
Well, and that's my issue, right? Is it seems to me, and that's why I referenced double standards a while ago, is because there's a double standard here. Where, well, you know, Trump is through taxpayer, which I actually believe he agreed to take a $1 salary, but yes, of course, taxes fund the people he hires, but I'm just saying to his credit, that's pretty cool. But anyway, okay.
Wait, real quick. I'm sorry, hold on. Real quick, that's not cool. There's a reason why we don't do that by precedent. The reason why the president...
tell me why that's not cool.
Yeah, so I honestly, I think it was even George Washington that started this. I could be wrong on that. But the idea was that the president saying, I don't want to take a public salary, encourages only incredibly wealthy people to run for president, so the president ought to take a salary. Now, obviously, the way that it works out today, you know, generally wealthy people are the ones running for president, but that precedent did exist for a reason. But, okay, go ahead.
I don't know if I agree about it encouraging necessarily. Fair point, honestly. To digress, right? It's double standard because here we have a sitting elected U.S. official federally. He is using taxpayer money to run his presidency, obviously, and he is producing content for these platforms under auspices of his presidency. I absolutely get it, and the people in chat who think I don't know, I do. The issue is, any other time this has happened, under jurisprudence, aside from this Southern District Court's ruling, aside from it, which is, of course, the same place they're trying the Mueller thing, aside from there, that this hasn't actually been established via precedent yet. So I'm just wondering, like, okay, so wait. So he's taking money. Okay, he's producing the content, but then it's getting entered into a private platform. It exists on private servers. Now we have the government literally delegating
real quick. Can I ask a question?
The means of which a private citizen or a private user is to use this because of some sort of external perception about their status. Now, hypothetically, I could say, well, now you're a public figure. And if you spread some form of whatever, I can ban you too.
Wait,
And
no, wait.
Hold on. And if you were to ever accept public funding as a candidate, then we could, I mean, like, how far does this go?
Okay, wait. So real quick. So this is how. Okay, so you don't have to do anything I say, okay? I'm not trying to, like, lock you in on anything. When I do a discussion, typically what I like to do is I lay out a certain set of premises, and then I draw a conclusion from there. And if you ever disagree with anything I say, I want you to stop me immediately, because I don't want to build up a massive conclusion when you disagree with a number of premises that I've laid out, okay? So that when I'm stopping you, it's because you're saying something that I totally disagree with, and it's going to taint the premise, or taint the conclusion, and then we're going to have to argue about it anyway. So the first question I have is, you said that this has been decided, or this has been ruled on in the past. I don't recall there ever being a ruling on, like, a president using Twitter or blocking people from Twitter in the past.
Not a president. No, just a sitting elected official.
Okay,
no, I can cite you the cases.
Wait, okay, yeah. So wait, there have been sitting officials that have used public media platforms that have banned or blocked people from viewing their statements on those platforms?
Yes. Yep. And the judge ruled that it was constitutional.
Okay, wait. Can you show me that? I'm just curious if it's the same thing or not.
Yeah, just give me one sec. Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
Okay, so it was let me just get the judge. I have these citations. Hold on a second. I have these all set. Okay. I'm dumb. Sorry about that. I have these all ready. I just couldn't find the folder. Okay, here you go. Okay, so in this case, SEC versus Dorosco. I'm just gonna put it all out here. This is the This is
wait,
one.
Can you hold on? Let me.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go read this real quick. Okay.
Really quick, I'm gonna tell you why I'm citing it. This is the judge had her decisions reversed over another chart, and this is the actual claim. This is the actual claim I made. Hold on a second. And there's the actual claim, right? So one speaks to credibility of the judge making the ruling because a superior court reversed her ruling because she was constitutionally illiterate.
Okay, wait, real quick. Which case are we citing here? Is it with the SEC versus the Dorosco, or?
That would be the first to her credibility. The second would be the Knight First Amendment. This would be the Twitter banning, blocking issue.
Okay, let me read this real quick, okay? Hold on.
Sure, yeah, no problem.
So, Alexander had an online trading account with Interactive Brokers LLC. IMS Health announced that it would release its quarterly earnings during an analyst conference call. Thomas Financial managed the online release of IMS's earning reports. Hours before the report's official release, a computer hacker hacked into Thomas's secure server and downloaded the IMS data from the server. Shortly after the hacking, Dorosco, who had never used his Interactive account before, bought a significant amount of IMS put options and buying these options. This sounds like insider trading. Dorosco was betting that IMS stock price would decline within a 2-day period by greater than 20%. Later that day, IMS announced their earnings. Next day, IMS's stock prices dropped. Dorosco sold his options, got a huge profit. Interactive noticed the regular, reported to the SEC. The SEC alleged Dorosco was a hacker and brought a fraudulent claim under Section 10B of the Securities Exchange Act. The SEC argued that when hacking, Dorosco affirmatively misrepresented himself to gain access to material, non-public information, traded securities based on that information. District Court held a preliminary hearing and denied the SEC request for preliminary injunction. Specifically, the District Court held that computer hacking was not deceptive conduct under. I don't see how this relates to the Trump stuff at all.
No. Again, that was for credibility's sake because if you look at the bottom, the Second Court of Appeals reversed the judge's ruling, and she was appealed and stayed her order and then had it reversed. That's almost unprecedented. Judges who do that are considered like bottom grade. That was just to her credibility.
Okay, wait, and then what was the
Donald Trump is the other citation. The May 23rd, 2018 Bookwald held that President Trump's blocking of the plaintiffs from the.
Okay, wait, you're talking about the Knights First Amendment Institute thing, right?
Correct.
Okay, hold on one second.
Yep.
So Knight.
First was for her credibility. This one is the actual citation for the case.
Oh, shit. The Knight First Amendment Institute filed suit in the Southern District of New York contending that President Trump and his communications violated the First Amendment by blocking 7 people from the @RealDonaldTrump Trump account because they criticized the president or his policies. The suit argues that @RealDonaldTrump Trump account is a public forum under the First Amendment, meaning the government cannot exclude people from it simply because of their views. It also argues that the White House is violating the 7 individual plaintiffs' First Amendment rights to petition their government for redress of grievances. Finally, the lawsuit argues that by altering the @RealDonaldTrump public forum, it is violating the rights of people who have not been blocked, such as the Knight Institute, another plaintiff in the case who must now participate in a forum that has been purged of many critical voices.
Right. If you look at the conclusion, this decision stand in contrast to other decisions made in our country.
Okay, you understand that this argument doesn't mean anything when you say that. Like when you say that this decision goes against other decisions.
Oh, no, it does. It's called legal jurisprudence and precedent.
No. Okay, so I'm sorry. I can't have this conversation because I'm not a lawyer, and it's grossly negligent for me to have that conversation. I can't sit here and tell you how I think the law should be interpreted because I don't have a law degree. So all I can do is say what I said earlier. Like the judge ruled this way, and then if it goes through the Court of Appeals and they rule differently, then that'll happen. But I can't evaluate if I can tell you on like an ethical or moral level.
It's quite literal, though.
No,
Precedent
it's
is
clearly
literal.
not if she's disagreeing with precedent, right? Or if this doesn't count as. I can't do this. I don't have a law degree. I can't do this. I mean, like, I can tell you, like, legally, or I'm sorry, I can tell you, like, ethically or morally if I think the president ought to be allowed to do that. We can discuss that. But in terms of whether or not this ruling, like, actually violates legal precedent or not, I can't do that. I have no fucking idea. I don't have the background to be able to make a statement like that, I don't think.
Yeah, I contest that this ruling was largely partisan, and I wanted, I guess my issue with you just saying, listen, when you told Dankula that your views on censorship have changed, I guess I'm okay. Given all of this, I'm wondering what sort of, so you don't want like Alex Jones broadcasting, and you don't think Alex Jones broadcasting would actually serve to benefit everyone here?
No, I don't. I think that people that intentionally spread misinformation do a disservice to all public discourse, and I would like to see all of these people eliminated. That's my stance.
But how would we ever sit down and suss out how dumb they are if we didn't know what they were saying?
Because I don't think we sit down and suss out how dumb they are. I think that idiots will follow and flock to them. And then how many people believe, for instance, like that Hillary Clinton sold a fifth of our uranium or some shit, or that Iran was making nukes and nobody knew about it? Like, I don't know. There's like a ton of like dumb fuck random information out there that people unironically believe now. No, I don't believe that we've been successful. I would agree in another world, in a world where the U.S. didn't shun the fuck out of education and the people weren't so stupid. But as it stands right now, like, I barely support the institution of democracy, let alone the idea that information should just be spread freely from any random fucking idiot that misrepresents it in order to, further whatever agenda they have.
Yeah, but you don't have faith. So wait, with all of the information that we have and all of the sourcing, all the ways we can source even people that aren't collegiate in this day and age, dude, I totally disagree, because what's going to happen if we forget this and in 100 years another Alex Jones comes back? Hypothetically, right? Well, let's go out of the league. I'm done with all this. I'm done with I want to talk.
This already
happens. I want to know how Destiny feels about this.
This already happened. What if we forget that we've already been to the Middle East for like 3 or 4 different wars that have lacked proper justification, and then oops, we do it again? I mean, this happens all the time. Like, history repeats itself constantly. What do you mean?
So what? So you're okay. So all right. So in 10 years, it would be okay with you if someone deemed you to be misinforming and then banned you?
No, I wouldn't like that at all, but I don't think I'd do that at all.
Well, I'm sure Alex Jones didn't think he was misinforming. I'm sure the court that accepted his hyperbole, his argument and his justification of his character as hyperbole, that I don't think they thought that he was doing. I don't think he thought that. I don't think they thought that.
Okay, real quick. Firstly, the court is not there to determine whether or not he's spreading misinformation disingenuously. I don't think that's his point. I thought the court was there to. Was it for cases of slander or the idea?
It came up in his custody case. It did.
It might have come up, but courts don't make rulings that way. The court isn't concerned with whether or not.
They do judge character based on that. They actually do.
Okay, I don't care how a court judges character. I'm just saying there's not like a legal argument made for like, did this guy lie about the information that he spread? I don't think that's relevant for like characters of entertainment. And I'm not even concerned with like the judge's ruling on that. Like, I feel pretty confident that Alex Jones, if he doesn't knowingly spread misinformation, he's so stupid that he shouldn't be allowed a public platform to do so. Like, either of those would be equivalent to me.
But if brains like me and yourself, who don't actually agree on much, but it seems we agree on some, sat down and we could break it down and parse it out, and then we come to a better conclusion, even off the idiocy, isn't he basically a useful idiot? Do you really think everyone's that dumb? I don't think everyone's that dumb.
When you look at the number of people in American society that unironically believe the craziest, most batshit conspiracy theories, the people that believe QAnon shit, the people that believe that that the whole Russian investigation is a massive hoax, the people that believe that Hillary sold a fifth of our uranium, the people that believe that illegal immigrants are coming over and raping and murdering people en masse and shit. I don't know. There's a ton of like like horrible information out there that's totally fucking fake. Like, none of the political conversations that I even have on Twitch are even real, or on YouTube are even real. It's literally just talking to people that don't know anything about anything, like Count Dankula. Like, I don't even get to have real discussions because of how much horrible fucking stupid information is out there. So no, I don't think there's a value in oh boy, here's Sargon with another video showcasing how he can't read a fucking chart. Wow, what a value this does to public discourse. No, I don't think there's any value in there at all.
So what if someone deems that for you, though, man?
I mean, I would hope that whatever bar I said, I'm pretty sure that
what if I have power in government or corporate structure in the future, and I say, you know what, this guy Destiny is full of shit, and all he does is propagate lies, so we got to get rid of him.
Sure. So this is called the Nirvana fallacy, and I'll never win this argument if you argue in this way. So what you're essentially challenging?
No. I'm not arguing. I want to know.
What you're doing is you're challenging.
Know how you feel about it.
So what I would answer to you know what my answer is going to be. My answer would be I would hope that we have some valuable third-party way of evaluating information to see if the person is at least making a good faith effort. That would be my answer to you. Now you can challenge me in a million different ways in a Nirvana sense, and like, well, how is your system going to be perfect? And I could never rise to that level of expectation. No, I get you. But what I know right now,
sure. I'm not trying to back you.
What I know right now is that what exists has literally made me lose faith in democracy, like as a process. Like I'm not a big supporter of democracy. I don't give a fuck about voting. I don't give a fuck about our leadership. I think it's a totally fucking failed drive, and we're probably all gonna be dead in 100 years from fucking global warming anyway. So what we have right now is so fucking abhorrent that I would be in favor of another system that has flaws and has serious fuck ups in opposition to what we have right now, because what we have right now is totally fucked in my opinion.
So what about so let me ask you this. What about the dossier? Do you believe that was intentional misinformation?
I don't think so, but what do you mean?
Well, no. Why is it you don't believe that was intentional misinformation? Circumstantially, it would sure appear that way, but I'm curious as to why you wouldn't think so.
My understanding of it was that was a dossier that I think it was the Republicans initially reached out for it, and then the Democrats, I think the Clinton administration, or not administration, the Clinton team picked up on it, and they were asking Christopher Steele, it was either an MI6 or ex-MI6 agent, to put together information that he thought may or may not be true about Trump. When that was presented to the Hillary Clinton team, I'm pretty sure it was presented even as, like, it may or may not be completely reliable, but it was the information that he'd uncovered. But yeah, I don't think it was like a massive bad faith, like slandering effort. At least that's not what I'm aware of. And I'm pretty sure a lot of like somewhat surprising claims of the dossier have been verified. I don't know. I haven't kept up on it to see how much is true versus how much is not true. But I don't think the dossier is the same level of like saying Sandy Hook was a fucking false flag. I think those two things are totally different.
Okay, well, just to clarify, under current legal precedent, and I went to Kelly Warner Law. She often quotes from Black's Law Review, and the very, very layman's, very easy to read, very easy on the eyes, even if you're not a law professional. So in this instance, Tear Down Magazine, that's a hypothetical magazine, publishes an unflattering article about Cecilia, the celebrity's recent child custody issue. The piece appears on Tear Down's website, print. Headline reads, Cecilia, celebrity, abandons her daughter. Cecilia, however, insists she regularly spends time with her daughter and decides to sue them for libel. In this phony scenario, Cecilia, having celebrity status, would have to prove actual malice to win the defamation case. This is where I was like, oh, wow, Destiny actually knew that. Okay. She'd have to provide evidence that TBD publications caused her material harm. She'd also have to prove that the magazine knew it was publishing false information, but did it anyway.
Yeah, you're describing the actual malice standard. What about it?
Right. Well, I would say that, in my opinion, maybe you don't share this opinion, Trump probably has a case under this privately.
Absolutely not. Not even close.
You don't think he has a private case?
If you want, I can bring in lawyers from my chat, because this conversation is not even close. You're telling me that you think that BuzzFeed, when they received that dossier, knowingly published it, knowing that everything was false in there, when Steele himself said that the information is like 60% accurate? Absolutely not. No possible way.
That's knowingly false. 60% isn't 100%. That's admitting you knew it was
never.
False.
Like I said, if you want, like, I can like drag lawyers from my community to talk about it, but
that's okay.
There's no possible way.
I welcome a legal professional to contest me on this. I welcome it.
Okay, esports Batman or Apple is, if either of you guys are here. I mean, you guys can join over here and chat if you want. I'm not sure if there's any.
Tell them I'm gonna get in on. I'll mute them.
Okay. Wait, do I have Hold on. I'm an expert in bird law. Fuck off. If esports Batman or Apple is are here, those are the two guys that I would trust for this. But if they're not here at the moment, like, we can talk to them later. But like, I would have a shocking time believing that publishing something like that most people would consider incredibly crucial to be very newsworthy. There's no way that's going to qualify as slander.
I am promising you that privately, as a brand, his management agency has a case, and he's the only reason. I'll even give you this. The only reason he's not hearing this right now is because technically you're not supposed to, when you're the president, do your private filings, especially when they may pose a conflict of interest. But
Trump has no care of conflict of interest. He's never cared about any of that. Why would you think that would stop him this time?
Well, why do you say that? Because of his Twitter posts?
No, because he has no problem, being as conflicting and unprecedented as possible. The statements that he's made towards the NFL, the statements that he's made towards the media, the statements he's made about people who burn flags should have their citizens.
Policy, bro.
What do you mean?
Like, I get that his rhetoric. I even said, like, and just to clarify, maybe I didn't say this. Actually,
what about all of his family and the business holdings they have that are being influenced by his decisions? Like,
I don't appreciate a lot of the negative aspects of his character. I don't.
No, hold on, wait, no, don't hand wave. So you're specifically saying
I'm being serious.
Well,
I genuinely don't, but I like his policy.
Okay, we can get into that. So I'm not saying that, like, I don't like Trump, blah blah blah. What you said earlier, you specifically said that he's probably not pursuing this because he doesn't want to conflate like public and private filings or whatever. And my statement is that I think that he is in a massive conflict of interest constantly with the fact that he hasn't not disavowed, but there's a name for like cutting off ties to your businesses. But in terms of like the business dealings that he has and his family members have in other countries that are directly impacted by his policies, he engages this type of behavior all the fucking time.
You do know presidents are allowed to keep their personal businesses running, right?
Sure, and I'm sure that presidents are probably also allowed to sue people for slander.
Yeah. Well, and that's my point. I mean, he would have to be choosing.
No, that's not your point. No, that's not your point. That's my point. That's not your point. That's my point. My point is that if he wanted to do it, he could. You're the one saying that he wouldn't because of some weird standard.
I don't think it would be politically advantageous.
Nothing that Trump does is politically nothing. No, wait, nothing that Trump has done has been politically advantageous. What are you talking about? Yeah.
He has record approval ratings for demographics that haven't seen these approval ratings.
I don't know what that stat means, and I don't.
36% Latino voter.
Yeah,
approval.
I don't care about like really esoteric stats and like, well,
that's esoteric.
Yes,
it's never been happened. It's unprecedented.
Okay, Trump can't get anything done in Congress. I don't care what the approval ratings of some random minority fan base are compared to previous. Like, that's a really esoteric and niche like way to evaluate whether or not the president is being successful.
Wait, if they set precedental records for their how is that? That would be one of the most commonly used ways of
No, it wouldn't. The most commonly used way would be
what type rates, ratios, and percentages.
No.
Really,
no, absolutely not. No.
Okay.
The way that you would look at it is what have they gotten accomplished during their presidential term, and thus far, Trump hasn't really accomplished anything, and his congressional pushes have been absolute unmitigated failures. They were barely able to repeal the ACA. They couldn't even do that. They had to get rid of the individual mandate with no replacement. The tax cuts, you could argue the tax cuts are probably the most successful thing that he's done, but aside from the tax cuts and the repeal of the ACA mandate, he hasn't accomplished anything in office.
What? Really?
Yes, really. Wait, what do you disagree with that?
Do you want me to start?
Okay, hold on. If you want to do this, we have to go through one at a time. Don't list off a million things he's done. Okay, yeah, one at a time. Go for it.
Okay. So what about the fact that 3 million jobs have been created? Why is this bad?
I don't think it's bad, but it's probably a continuation of Obama-era policies. I mean, if you look at...
okay, it's a continuation of a trend. So why is it now that 67% of Americans believe it's a good time to find work? Was that also just natural fallout of Obama?
Okay, so when we talk about the success of a president, okay, I want to talk about policy decisions. You're throwing at me a lot of really random polls. I don't care what percentage of Americans think about something. That's not what I'm concerned with. What we're talking about is what policies has Trump passed.
Wait, so how do you wait? You don't care about a percentage, but how do we decide what's real and what's not in this disinformation thing? That's all popular opinion.
Okay, hold on. Hold
on.
No. Huh.
Okay.
Hold on.
So
wait. Can you give me? Hold on. I just need a second.
One set of standards that you apply.
Hold on. I just need a second. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Jesus, please help me. Okay. We're not going to lose it. Okay, guys? We're holding on. Okay? We're going to keep our cool. Okay. Okay. All right. Are we ready? Okay. So
I'm curious why your terms aren't.
Wait, no. Wait. Yeah. Okay. Please let me say my whole statement before you say a bunch of other things. Okay. So you just made a claim that it sounds like I'm being wishy-washy with which data I wish to consider, or that your percentages are real or unreal. I have never, ever in this whole conversation, I have never made the claim that what you are citing me is not true data or real data. It may very well be that a record number of minorities support Trump compared to other Republican presidents. It may very well be that more Americans are looking or think that it's a good time to look for work now than they have in the past. These might be true facts. What I am telling you is that they are not relevant to my question. My question was, what has Trump accomplished in office? The responses that I would expect would be, well, here are the policy positions that Trump has advanced that I think make him a successful president. Not, this is the opinion at the time of him.
The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act.
So I would argue that the tax cuts, based on what I've seen, didn't do what they were supposed to do. Now, it's been some time, so I could be wrong, but I read a Wall Street Journal article, and I think an article in The Economist that said that the majority of the money that had been saved by businesses in those tax cuts were essentially used for stock buybacks from shareholders, and that they didn't end up trickling down to the bottom people, as supply-side economics never seems to. I could be wrong on that. There might be more information recently, but I already acknowledged that the tax cuts are probably the most successful thing that Trump has done so far. The tax cuts and then the repeal of the ACA individual mandate with no replacement are the only two positions that Trump has been able to push in Congress. But even the healthcare thing, in my opinion, was a disaster.
You know that's because the House is a stalemate. No, you don't agree? You don't think that that's a bad environment to try to operate in?
That it probably is, but now you're making my argument. Wait.
I'm just saying you're making that's to Trump's credit because you're attributing it all to Trump's misanthrope.
Okay,
or something.
no. Okay, so firstly, when you give me reasons why Trump is a failure, you're making my argument. So when I say, for instance, Trump is a failure, and then you go, no, he's not. He's done these things, and I said, well, he's done these things. You go, okay, well, he's only failing because Congress is shit. Wait, please let me finish. No, please let me finish my statement because you're jumping into a million things. Okay, because you said something else that I don't even remember now that I have to take issue with. So when I say Trump has failed in Congress, and you say, well, no, he hasn't. He did these two things. And I say, well, I acknowledge he did these two things, but that's it. I think he's failed. And you go, well, he's failing because of this. I can agree with that, but that's my argument. I said that he failed. Now, be aware, when Trump was running for president, he specifically said that he can bring together Congress in ways that nobody has before. And he gave specific examples. I watched every single Trump nomination speech, okay, or not during his nomination cycle. I specifically remember him saying things like, corporate inversion. These are things that the left and right agree on. Why can't we get it done? I can bring Congress together and get it done. So it feels a little bit hollow for Trump to cry now that he can't get Congress to agree on anything when he specifically stated that his job as a businessman was to be a great negotiator. Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm going to come back to the issue. I want to know when your standards, I guess, converge in consistency, right? Because there's a lot of double standards at play here. I feel like maybe they're not. Maybe you have some sort of reason for changing your standards slightly.
Wait, what standard are you referring to?
Well, it seems like your standards for what's public and what's not shift.
Wait, hold on, because we're jumping topics again. I have to hold you to this topic.
It's not really jumping.
No, it is absolutely jumping topics. No. So the discussion was whether or not Trump has been a successful president thus far, and you said unequivocally yes. And then I asked you to defend that. Aside from the two, one's kind of victory and one
unequivocally.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, then my bad. Then I misunderstood you. So you're going to agree with me that Trump has not really been that successful of a president so far? You agree with me then when I make that statement?
I'd say he's been unbelievably successful at some things and unbelievably bad at others.
Okay, when you say he's been unbelievably successful at some things, can you tell me what?
Yes, the economic policy and the foreign policy decisions he's made. Yes.
Okay, well, hold on. I've got to write this down.
Moving the embassy to Israel and the tax cuts. We can stick on those two. No problem.
Okay, so why would I don't think the tax cuts ended up doing anything that it was supposed to. Median wages are still stagnating in the U.S. economy. Most of that money went to like stock buybacks and just like corporate reinvestment and whatnot. I don't think they actually accomplished anything in terms of wages for middle-class workers. And then it's also growing the deficit, which is something Republicans hate. I don't see how you can view those tax cuts as a victory.
Deficit's always okay. Well, the deficit's always. I mean, that's sort of loose. The deficit's always shit. And median wages have been going up and down, and they're going back up, and that trend has remained consistent since the 90s. But I don't really. I mean, if we want to attribute anything to what was Obama, that could also. I mean, like, so, and that's why I'm wondering where your standards like actually converge. And
wait, no, it's not okay. One statement at a time. So you say the deficits always shift. So
yeah. Since 1998, the BLS concedes that the wages have been going. In fact, the lowest point for wages in the past 15 years were under Obama.
You mean during the aftermath of the housing crisis? Was that his fault?
Yeah, that came about. Wow. I mean, come on, man. The housing crisis was under Obama. Oh, you don't believe so?
No. Wait, what do you
Okay.
mean? Wait,
You
can
don't
you
believe
explain?
there was a housing crisis leading up to his? Okay. Oh, all right.
Do you think that Obama, that President okay, okay, hold on, please. Okay, so firstly, okay, Obama was president from 2008 to 2017 to 2016, right?
Correct.
Firstly. Secondly, the housing crisis happened in 2007, okay?
Correct.
How is that Obama's fault?
Well, I mean, again, I'm wondering. Again, I mean, do the standards? When do the standards? I'm
Wait, no,
asking
no, no,
you
no,
when
no,
your
no, no,
standards.
don't pivot,
I'm
please, don't
asking you
pivot,
when your
please, don't
standards.
pivot.
No. I'm getting to the claim. I am asking you when your standards line up because it seems like you have a set of standards for compartmentalizing Obama era, but you don't have the same set of standards for Trump era. And I'm just curious why.
Okay,
Why?
can you explain that statement? Can you elaborate on that?
So if I can attribute, yes. So if I can attribute, hold on. If I can attribute wage growth, right, under to or not to the person before him, why does this standard seem to inverse on its ass for you? I mean, like, you're like, well, listen, the housing crisis was just before Obama, therefore he has nothing to do with it. But wage growth was up and down just before Trump. He also has nothing to do with it.
Okay, hold on.
Or
Okay,
he
no,
doesn't,
sure.
or he does.
Sure. Okay. So let's just bring up. We can just bring up graphs to answer. Let's look at the first claim. Okay. So this
Sure.
fantastical idea that Trump has been massively surging the economy. To some extent, it's true. But the economy, if you were to Google like the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones or the Nasdaq, the stock markets have been posting all-time highs since like 2013. Okay. Now, are they continuing to do so? Yeah, sure. But I mean, like, to look at a trend that has been literally going up since 2009, and then to all of a sudden say that Trump has turned the economy around is fantastical delusion.
I don't know if it's delusion when the policy is in the same spirit. I don't, and it actually has the same
Wait,
results.
but that's not firstly, all of the
So
policies.
you don't think those bonuses we got from the tax mitigations that's not a positive?
We
That's a
haven't
bad.
even gotten those yet. No.
Oh. So no workers across our country received any bonuses as a result of his actions.
No, you haven't yet. They haven't gone through yet. No, what do you mean? I'm still going to pay the mandate penalty this year for not having health insurance. The tax cuts don't come into effect until next year. What do you mean?
Did you hear about what AT&T did? Just one company that did something about it. Did you hear that or no? You didn't hear that. They literally gave out a bonus after the tax bill.
Okay, I don't know what an individual private company has done yet, but the tax year has not ended
This
yet.
was like a year ago.
Okay, well, a year ago there weren't any tax cuts passed, so that doesn't even make sense.
Here, check it out. Look. Here.
And didn't AT&T also lay off 1,000 people after that? Do you really want that to be your go-to example?
No. I want to know. I want to know. I mean, the company increased its capital expenditures by $1 billion, dude. That's just one company.
What does that have to do
This
with
isn't
Trump?
like a unique trend to one company.
Okay, but there are also other companies that are saying they're going to have to shut down because of Trump tariffs. And those are actual Trump policies, not this vague whatever tax cut meme that hasn't even gone through yet.
Maybe we won't actually reach progress on this because you seem to think, well,
the
I don't know,
problem
you
is you're
seem to
using
think-
like a lot of words that don't make any
You
sense.
seem
Like, for
to
instance, like you're
really-
saying earlier that my
No, that's
standards are
not
double
true. You
standards.
seem-
What I'm saying is that Bush's presidency had a huge impact on Obama, such as the housing crisis. And I'm saying that Obama's presidency had a huge impact on Trump, such as the massive growth in the economy. These are completely consistent positions. But somehow you want me to go back and hold Obama accountable for Bush's fuck-ups or something? I don't understand.
No. I want you to use the same spectrum that you would apply to Obama. I want you to apply to Trump. That's all I want, and I want to know why. And moreover, the real contention I have with your positions stem back to this application of double standard.
I don't think I've used.
It's-
I think the problem is. It seems like the problem is that you're applying things that are totally dissimilar, and then you're pretending that it's a double standard.
I don't know that a principled argument necessarily. I don't know if the nouns are important in a principled argument. I really don't. I'm
But they
you,
are. The verb of censor, to censor, means something totally different when a private platform does it versus
so
when a government
determines the verb. I don't agree, sir.
Wait, what does that sentence mean? No, what I'm saying is that if we believe in context.
So wait a minute. The verb of censor is different when the context shifts. So
Yes.
that means yes, I'm going with your logic. So that means that if we want to censor Trump because he's deemed by, I guess, and you still haven't explained to me, I guess, who's going to regulate this or how this will be regulated, or if the market will regulate. You said something about maybe free market, but okay. How is this decided? This is the ultimate question I have, despite any disagreements we may have about Trump. Who decides what is to be published? And
Did we just jump back like 15 topics? Wait, I don't even know what we're talking about right now.
This is what I opened on. We teetered across a few, and I just want to come back to this question since we have been sort of bouncing around quite a bit.
Well, no, we haven't. Every time I ask you a question, you totally pivot. I love to talk. I've talked about this shit for years, so I can talk about any of these topics for hours.
I'm enjoying speaking
but
about it.
Every time I ask you a question or try to pin you down on something, you do this thing. Everybody does it where they'll squirm or they'll pivot to a totally unrelated thing.
No.
Yes, that's exactly what has happened. If we were to go back, I will bet you $1,000 on PayPal, okay, right now, if you want to take this bet, that we can have 15 different people go through our conversation, and you have been responsible for almost every single topic change. I know that 100%.
I don't see why that's a problem.
The problem is because
an answer.
We're not working up to anything. How can we tie in?
True. No, we are, because I want to know your answer to that question. I want to know where it stops. I want to know where the bias stops and who we ordain or delegate the decision making to for what's to be published and what's not.
I don't know. It would have to be a body of educated people that I think are media savvy and data savvy, I guess. I'm not sure what this would actually look like.
Would you want it to be publicly subsidized? Would you really want that to be funded through the government? Do you think they're good at doing this kind of thing?
I'd probably want it to be publicly subsidized versus privately done. Yeah, probably, maybe. I'm not sure, but if it has to do with private platforms, maybe every private platform should have its own board, I guess. And then we can decide who we support more, I guess, through our dollars and use or whatever. I don't know exactly what it would look like, though. I already admitted as much. This is when we talked about the Nirvana fallacy, right?
Yes. So you're okay with Alex Jones being deplatformed?
Yeah. Wait, do you know why?
Yeah, I'd like to. Yeah, I'd like to.
What did I say was the reason why?
You said because you believe or he does spread blatant misinformation, whether he's stupid or he's intentional.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. Yep. That is my position. Yeah. Correct.
Okay. So who decide? Again, you're like, I don't know what that looked like. What if that is turned on you in the future? And I know you're like Nirvana fallacy. What if it's on me? What if it's on anybody? How is that okay? That's not all right with me. I don't want anyone shut down. I want us all to be able to talk about it and hash out how dumb it is.
Okay, yeah. So what you're asking me,
we're having a tense public interaction, but it's a good thing, right?
Okay. So what you're asking me is, let's say that you want policy X implemented in the future. Well, what if that turns into policy Y? Well, obviously, I would disagree with that. What do you mean? Of course. Like you're Nirvana-ing me right now.
Policy doesn't change at all, and the application does.
Then that would be horrible. That would suck.
What if I was to tell you that for a lot of people on my side of the aisle, we believe it already has?
Okay, firstly, I'm pretty sure this applies to me more than most people on the other side of the aisle, because I am literally like permanently fucking banned from Twitter right now, okay? So, I see a whole bunch of white nationalists and shit that are still fucking fumbling fuentes.
Wait. Why are you banned from Twitter?
Because I got brigaded by alt-righters that get really fucking mad when I debate their little retarded fucking idols online, and they spam fucking report my shit. So, I mean, this is already applied to me.
Yeah, that's stupid. No, that's stupid. And again, see, I don't necessarily agree with you, but it makes me when I think of, you know what? This guy, his view is just wrong. He's just an idiot, and he's a retard. Okay. We got to get rid of him.
So let me back up and explain what the Nirvana fallacy is, because you say that you don't agree with it, and then you keep doing it to me. So the Nirvana fallacy is, we right now have a scenario. Okay, well, I'll explain it for other people, okay, so that other people, I guess, can understand if they don't. So what the Nirvana fallacy is, we have an issue right now that has severe problems. When I present a possible solution, if that solution can't be flawlessly and perfectly implemented and applied without error, then that position is seen as irrational or untenable or not favorable. So what I would say is that my, proposed solution of having people banned from platforms for intentionally spreading misinformation, that could end up being a bad thing, or it could, have problems with it. I totally acknowledge that. I cannot sit here and 100% say it would be perfect, but what I would argue is that what we have right now is so absolutely fucking horrible that I'm okay with some problems in implementing another idea for a while first. Okay? So Okay. So if you keep asking me, like, well, what if this happens and it would go wrong? Well, I wouldn't want it to go wrong. Ideally, I would design a system, or a system would be designed that would prevent those types of things from happening. But I guess it could happen for sure. I don't know how it would be implemented exactly.
Well, I would like to know, I guess what I would really like to know from you, is when does shit, you're like Nirvana fell. Okay. Well, shit, if I don't like what you say and I snatch your platform away, and even a bunch of people advocate me doing so, we're going to be really layman's now. Does that make it right? A bunch of people say that, he's wrong. Does it make it righter if the majority rules that? Is that how we're doing this?
No, I would never leave this up to a majority rule.
Okay, cool. So this board would be ruled through some sort of constitutive set of documents, perhaps?
Sure, some group of people that would make decisions on a case-by-case basis, or some guiding principle or something, sure.
Okay. See, and I find it weird because it seems like you're not as hardcore pro-censorship as you sounded when you were talking to Dankula.
Because I'm not hardcore pro-censorship. I'm very much in favor of platforming hate speech and all that types of shit. I don't give a fuck about that. I just don't like it when people spread misinformation, because it's really irritating when I want to have discussions on policies and topics and positions that I have to wade through so much stupid shit and I can't even have real conversations. I think it just does a harm to public discourse. I don't want people out there debating whether or not Iran was making secret fucking nukes in somebody's basement when we should be arguing the merits of the actual Iran anti-nuclear agreement,
Right. What if some of this reporting does actually uncover misanthropy? Like, the famous quote, "The frogs are gay," or whatever the hell Alex Jones, turning the frogs gay. Didn't that have some truth underlying it? Because he said there was actually a pharmaceutical runoff issue into freshwater reservoirs. I believe that was the truth underlying this hyperbolic.
Yeah, but that truth existed before Alex Jones talked about frogs being gay.
Right. But so let me ask you, what is so wrong about me presenting it in a comic, cartoony way? You really believe people buy that verbatim?
Because Alex Jones wasn't just talking about frogs being gay. Alex Jones has gone on to make a ton of stupid fucking claims that have damaged public discourse.
Okay. So aside from, I'm going to give you the Sandy Hook one, because I personally just don't want to sit here and debate over, a tragedy like that. So what besides the Sandy Hook one, I'll give that to you. Besides that one, what's another one he's damaged the public?
Everything related to Pizzagate and the weird pedophile obsession shit and the fucking everything having to do with like the Trump and the Russia shit, like all of this stuff is just massive amounts of total misinformation.
You would say that that's empirically demonstrated, or you would say that that's your opinion on the man?
I don't know what you're asking me. Are you asking me to like?
There's empirical hard evidence to suggest he was completely fabricating all of this, or no? It's just
for like Pizzagate and shit. Yeah, I would say that this stuff is like fucking crazy, stupid shit.
Right. Okay. So the emails that WikiLeaks busted open about, all of that existing.
Wait. All of what existing?
Those email leaks.
Wait, all of what existing?
The emails kept on WikiLeaks.org pertaining to the Podesta and Pizzagate scandal.
There were no emails related to raping kids. I can
link you to all of the emails. That's right now at WikiLeaks.
Okay, I could be wrong because I didn't read.
Seen these emails?
I have read a lot of them, but I didn't. Now I could be wrong, but I didn't see any emails there where they were talking about raping kids in the basement of a pizza place. Did I miss those?
No, you didn't. They did discuss, they did use heavily. I understand it. I'm asking you again, is it wrong for him to use a hyperbolic representation to lead people to the water, so to speak, to lead the horse to water? Is that really so bad? Okay,
hold on. Wait. Hold on. You want to talk about consistency? I'm very curious. Okay. Do you think that taking a few awkwardly worded emails from old people and then spreading the idea that there's some underground fucking rape cult is that's not slander or defamation, but people posting a credible dossier that was researched by a foreign intelligence agent, that is slander? Do you really think that that's a consistent position to have?
No, the standard of malice is in both of those. The when they're public officials, the information must be proved to have been intentionally false. They must prove that it was false and they knew it was false. So for both of those, no, I don't think so, because the law doesn't think so.
Wait, hold on. So you're telling me that you think that Alex Jones was more honest when he reported on Pizzagate than when BuzzFeed posted the dossier? No. I wouldn't. No, that would be stupid. They're both equally bad. Okay, so you think that Pizzagate has the same level of credibility as the Steele dossier?
Well, under law, yes. Yes. Absolutely. And I contest any legal professional to contest me directly. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, that's
yes.
I can't. That is like an insane position to me. I can't even believe that someone would unironically.
That's okay, because well, and I can break it down for you and anyone here. Yes, because basically what you have, if I may, and then I'd love to hear what you can go ahead and tell me why I'm crazy, because I'd like to know why I'm crazy. But here it is. In both cases, you have something that cannot be proven to have been knowingly false. We don't actually know whether these people knew what they were saying was false. That's one. And I can post the statute and the requirements for it. But basically, if you are a public entity, a public person, a public figure, as it's referred to, the only way you have a defamation and or libel case is when the information being spread is proven to be false and that the people knew it was false when they spread it. The reason the dossier actually is okay, also sort of like shitty as far as like quality, is because we can't prove that they knew it was false, and we also can't prove that it's true. So it's low. Same with the Pizzagate thing. We can't prove that Alex Jones knew he was wrong. No one can prove that, and we also can't prove that the people implicated by Pizzagate
wait, hold on.
Affected adversely.
So I don't disagree because the claim that you made earlier sounded different. So you're saying from a legal point of view that both of these things would pass under that neither of these would count as defamation. The reason why I'm confused now is because I could have sworn that earlier you told me that you thought that Trump had a rock solid case. I feel like you almost said that verbatim. That earlier you said that Trump had.
I feel like he has a really good case once he's not operating as under the federal auspices. I do believe he can bring this case up because the statute of limitations on such a thing is like 14 years federally. So by the time he's out of presidency, he probably can bring the dossier under a private court to sue.
Okay, so you think that Trump has a better case against the private dossier than other elected and prior officials do against Pizzagate?
Not necessarily. That's yet to be determined. Actually.
Whether or not the rape rings exist? I thought we moved on to QAnon.
No, again, we would have to prove that the people supplying the information in either case knew it was false, which I don't believe in either case they necessarily did, nor that we can even prove it if they did, right? So we'd have to prove that, which I don't think we can prove on both. And I again, these are public officials, so that must be proven, or else it isn't defamation or libel. But that doesn't mean it's credible. You understand, right? There's actually a difference there, and it gets lost in it gets lost in translation from the courts to the media to us. But that is true. I am not misleading you guys. I want every American here to know the law. It's important. I'm being serious. Yes, absolutely. I believe both cases are just about equal in legal validity. Yes. Even though one is obviously a lot nastier and ethically a lot dirtier and grittier. Yes, obviously, man. Obviously.
All right, wait, give me 1 second. Hold on 1 second.
Sure. Oh, Wolf, I see your comment, bro. I'm not greedy. I don't have a choice in you debating. I want to debate. I like debating Destiny. Destiny's pretty smart, but I disagree on these legal interpretations. I disagree on this application of double standard of perspective. That's all.
Okay, hey Doobie, can you give Kalik talking permissions? And then I'm not going to talk for a little bit. I don't want to do like a double team thing.
Your mic's muted on your end, though.
Yeah, it was muted on my end.
What's up, Kalik?
Hello.
Nice to meet you, bro.
Yeah, so there was a lot of talking going on, but you're saying that the dossier is equally as not or equally as defamation as Pizzagate?
Again, I'm commenting on the fact that in neither case, in the source, can we prove that the people generating this material knew it to be false when they generated it? Right?
Okay, but you're wrong about that.
Okay.
Because
I'd like you to show me why.
okay, in the legal system, the way that we prove things is that we go and take a bunch of evidence and we put it in front of a jury, and then we say, hey, like, look, here's all this evidence we have, and then the jury sort of makes a determination. And people like to talk about how actually we can't prove anything is really definitely true, so you can't say that this thing did violate the law. But that's actually not how it works, because circumstantial evidence proves tons of crimes, sometimes ones that didn't even happen. And juries sort of go with it. And so if you put BuzzFeed forward, BuzzFeed could say, look, like this is the reason we believed that this was reasonable things to say, and that we didn't think it was false. This is what we have to say. This thing here was a document that was put forward by this organization. All of that is true. Everything BuzzFeed is true. The things in the bot docket, they weren't specifically reporting as true, but also you couldn't get the people, even if they said them aloud, and in other ways, you couldn't get, for example, the person who leaked it to BuzzFeed, you couldn't get them for defamation because they had reason to believe that the things in the dossier were true as well, in the sense that what is in the dossier, it doesn't say this definitely happened. It says we have this person who will tell us this thing happened. On the other hand, when you go to your issue of Pizzagate, we have tons of circumstantial evidence that show that the people who actually advocated the Pizzagate was true, were saying that it was true, and knew that it wasn't true. If you go through them, like you can pull out random Pizzagators or Alex Jones.
No, I want evidence from a court transcript where either party admits that they knew the information that they were progenerating was false, and they decided to do it anyway.
And what I'm telling you is that's not how you prove.
No, it is. It's literally, I posted it in from Cornell U under literally like one of the top lawyers in New York, one of the top offices that cites Black's Law Dictionary, which is the gold label global standard for law in the United States, and cites Cornell. And just so you know, in New York Times Co. v. Sullivan, one of the most famous cases for this, they literally said that there must be actual knowledge of falsity, and it has to be proven involving public figures.
Okay, and what I told you is that you have to prove that it was actually known to be false, but that the way you prove that it's known to be false is not by having someone admit in court that they knew it was false.
There's lots of ways to prove things. I understand that.
Well, that's
so show me the evidence that was submitted to a court that meets the standard. Go ahead. In either case, I want to see the standard that says that the party that produced the dossier knew it was false, and that's why they did it, which is actually me shilling for pro-blue right now. I'm actually defending it unironically. I'm saying that it's okay that they did that because we don't know that they falsified it, and that also stands for the Pizzagate thing. Yes. Unless you have some record, I don't. I'm pretty good at case law. I'd love to see the case if you have it.
So again, what I'm saying is that they have evidence that the people who are saying that the Pizzagate things are true knew it to be false.
Right.
One way you could prove that is, let's say you had Mike Cernovich, and Mike Cernovich said, Pizzagate is real. And then you brought in Mike Cernovich and you said, okay, Mike Cernovich, you said this thing about Pizzagate is real. Why, when you said that, why did you say that? And he would say, well, I didn't. I said that, but what I said was that it was true, and I said that because it would hurt people who I didn't like. And he would say, okay, well, did you have any reason to think it was true? Did someone provide you evidence that it was true? And you'd be like, no, but I thought it would be a convenient way to fuck over my political opponents. And you'd be like, oh, well, if in that case, then we now know that you did know it to be false. You see, that's the thing. You don't have to know, you don't have to prove that it was false and they knew it to be false by them admitting they knew it to be false. You can show things like they had a motivation that had completely nothing to do with the truth, and they had no reason to believe it's true, and the jury can sort of infer.
I'm not suggesting they can't. I need the case that they did. If they haven't, then I don't care about speculation from a lawyer or non-lawyer. I've experience in the paralegal, and I used to help many lawyers. So I'm curious, where's the evidence? When was it submitted, and what evidence are you talking about that proves the actual knowledge of falsity? I would like to know.
So you're
and
saying,
if you don't have it, that's okay. My point would stand to that. My point would stand that the dossier and the Pizzagate thing were both not proven to be knowingly false at the time that they were progenerated into, say, the media.
So wait, so your claim is that there hadn't yet been a defamation suit in which they were found guilty of defamation at the time that they committed defamation?
No, I would like the evidence that suggests that knowledge of falsity was present in either of these cases by the propagating party of the intel.
Right, and so I'm telling you that evidence exists and can be presented, and the fact that it hasn't been presented in a defamation case.
So it hasn't been presented yet.
So let me continue that sentence. So it hasn't been presented in a defamation case yet. Doesn't mean that it's not defamation, because all defamation, that evidence has to exist somewhere before a defamation case before it can be defamation.
Right. And I'm, again, yeah. So
the fact that these things haven't been proven in a court of law with a jury finding someone guilty doesn't mean it's not defamation, because the jury would only find that it's defamation after.
I know that. I'm just saying, if indeed I'm wrong in the dossier or Pizzagate, there's proof of falsity somewhere, of course. But I don't see it, and I don't think any other citizen does or any other legal professional. I'm waiting to see it. If you have it, let me see it.
So one example of the proof I already gave, which is people admitting that they didn't think that they didn't have any reason to think it was true, and they were only doing it to hurt their political opponents. That would be evidence that it is false, and they knew it to be false.
Wait, what's evidence that who knew what to be false? Please, wait a minute. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
If someone who is advocating Pizzagate admits that they have no evidence that it's true, and that the reason they spread the news was because they thought it would be politically advantageous to them, then
doesn't that prove that they knew that it was false?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. It does prove that. It
doesn't prove that.
If the jury finds that it proves that.
Oh, of course, whatever the jury finds, absolutely. I'm not talking about manipulating a jury. I'm talking about.
I'm not talking about manipulating a jury either. I'm talking about what the types of circumstantial evidence that people present all the time to prove these sorts of things.
I'm well aware, and I'm waiting for you to demonstrate. Even go ahead and throw up some circumstantial. I'll take it. Circumstantial, by the way, I think you're a lawyer, right? You know as well as I do that circumstantial evidence is like the lowest tier, but
that's not.
Wait, what? True. Most cases are proven on circumstantial, aren't they?
Well, it depends on the type of circumstantial evidence.
Well,
yeah, so depends.
First of all, circumstantial evidence, you would never say that circumstantial evidence is the lowest tier of evidence. You wouldn't really sort evidence.
Pretty low.
No, you literally wouldn't even sort evidence into tiers like that. Circumstantial evidence is the best evidence for proving the things that it proves. It just doesn't prove usually the specific thing the specific element of the offense. It proves things around that which you can lead to
I know.
that. That being said, my point is that specifically, I'm talking about how there are a bunch of people who advocated Pizzagate, and those people have, many of them at various times, admitted that they have absolutely no evidence that Pizzagate is true of any kind.
They don't have evidence that it's false either.
Wait,
and
what?
They knew that it wasn't, they had no evidence, and they knew that it hurt their political opponents, and they said the thing to hurt their political opponents without any reason to believe it's true.
Right, and that same thing applies to the dossier.
Well, actually, it doesn't. I talked about
why is it that it doesn't? Explain why there's a double standard here that I'm missing.
Yeah, can I explain this real quick? So what he's saying is that the reason is because there's a difference between I am making up a claim about Trump. Now, if BuzzFeed, for instance, and I'm sure Kelly would agree with this, if BuzzFeed, if that was like their dossier that their random dudes had Googled or whatever, then you have a much stronger claim of defamation rather than like we have this that we believe to be truly investigated by an MI6 agent. And also, I don't think BuzzFeed even said or made the claim that the dossier was true, but rather we have this information that's been handed to us that has been researched by this guy and we're publishing it as is, was their claim. I don't see how you could ever. That's yeah.
Again, my claim stands. Like, I get that there's a lawyer saying that there's circumstantial and he could present it, and I'm sure he could. I'm sure I could too. I could probably fucking sell that case easily.
Okay, no, wait.
That doesn't change. No, hold on. That doesn't change the statute.
No, it's these are so different. I'm trying to see if you understand the difference between this. So if I have two people and one of them says, John rapes kids, and that's just his claim. He has no evidence for it, but he just says John rapes kids. And then another guy says, hey, I know an FBI investigator that worked on a case, and when he was investigating, he wrote me, a report that said John rapes kids. Do you think that both of these claims are equal in terms of how defamatory they could be?
I'm sorry, but again, if they're being very, very legal here, if they are a public figure and there is a claim made that is knowingly false, that's the only time.
But which one do you think would be easier to prove the claim is knowingly false? The guy that says,
I don't think they meet the legal standard.
No. If one guy says, okay, hey, I think that John raped a kid, and I just think it, whatever, right? If he says that and he's not being handed this information, that's just his claim, and then he publishes that, versus another guy that says, hey, here is a credible agent that has done some reporting and he believes that guy raped the kid. You think that both of those would be like equally difficult to attack in court as being defamatory?
Well, no, I don't think so. I mean, depends on the defense or the prosecution.
Don't equivocate. There's a very clear difference. Where all else equal, okay?
Okay, yeah. So no, I think that those two things are just about the same, other than you have two fact witnesses in one circumstance. I understand that.
Okay, So in one, you would have to prove that the person that just made up the claim out of nowhere was doing it for to be malicious, that they knew it was false, okay? You think that that would be just as easy as taking another person and saying that person knew that the credible agent that investigated him was doing a bad job and and was just making up a malicious claim that handed it off to the journalist? You think both of those things would be equally easy to prove or equally likely?
Yeah, I think if we can prove that they didn't, if they knew it was false, then it shouldn't discriminate.
How? Okay, never mind. Kayla, you can take it. I don't know what to say at that point.
Yeah. As Destiny has correctly pointed out, distinction. There is a distinction, and distinction is very meaningful. And you're trying to understand it. It shouldn't be undersold. There's a huge difference between saying X is true and saying X is not true. X is something someone else told me is true. This is who told it to me. This is the circumstances of how they told it to me. And therefore, you can draw this conclusion because I'm a journalist. Those are two different things. Journalists are responsible when they say, X is true, more than when they say someone else is claiming X is true. That's why people can write headlines that say Trump said X without being sued for defamation for lying about, illegal votes or whatever Trump is lying about tomorrow, because they don't have to be responsible for things Trump said if they lead with Trump said this, and we're not saying it's true.
Again, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we won't budge on this because, again, I would need proof of falsity.
No, you don't. That's not what's being discussed.
The statute says I do.
Okay, wait, here's the question. No, it doesn't. Here's the question.
Yes, it does. I linked it. Yes, it does.
Let's say that I report tomorrow, okay? Let's say that I write a headline tomorrow and I say, Trump claims that Rosie O'Donnell raped her husband or whatever. Do you think that if Rosie O'Donnell didn't rape her husband and that Trump maliciously made that claim and I didn't know that, do you think I can be held liable for slander or defamation?
If you knew it was false, yes. Not if
you knew it was false, sure. But there's a huge difference between and also but
just say the point of that, even if you knew it was false, you would still not be held liable because what you reported was that Trump claimed it.
Oh yeah, that's true. If you're just reporting it as what?
1 second. Can you check your DMs when you get a chance, listener?
Yeah. If you're just reporting what was being said, that's a way different thing than your own original claims. Like when BuzzFeed published the dossier, that wasn't published as the BuzzFeed dossier. That was published as, here's a dossier that's been floating around that was paid for by the Democrats for Christopher Steele to research some shit about Trump. And there it is.
Right.
How the fuck could you ever...
What we need to know is if Steele knew it was false before he published it.
No, you would have to prove.
That's
You would
what the
have.
statute
No,
says.
it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No,
I
it
linked it.
doesn't.
Would you like me to
no,
send it again?
no. Please, you're misunderstanding. You would
I'm
have to.
not.
You are. You would
I
have.
practiced law in the New York area
You
for almost a
don't.
decade.
Okay,
I'm not
please
wrong.
stop. You would have to.
Okay.
You would have to prove that BuzzFeed knew that Steele knew that it was malicious, and even at that, you probably couldn't get them on
I'm
defamation.
not pushing for a case of defamation. I sat here and said before you would need to prove the falsity. And if you can't, there is no defamation.
No,
But
you don't
this
need to
stands
prove
for
falsity. You have to
Pizzagate.
prove maliciousness. You can't. Falsity
No.
doesn't matter.
Incorrect. I posted the statute.
You don't need to prove the falsity in the sense that proving the falsity would accomplish nothing, because BuzzFeed's not going to be responsible, even if it's false.
I
Even
didn't
if
say they
know
would
it's-
be. Didn't say BuzzFeed would be responsible.
So that's my point. BuzzFeed wouldn't be responsible for reporting that someone else said something, whereas someone reporting something as true would be responsible. That's the distinction that we're
Do
talking
you
about.
have proof? I have a question. Do you have proof that would falsify what was published on behalf of the or within the Steele dossier?
I can prove.
Do you have proof to falsify what was published about Pizzagate?
I can prove
Or-
that Alex Jones.
or
I can prove
That the parties involved in the publishing of either knew their information was false. That's rather that. Do you have that?
I can prove that Alex Jones knew it was false when he said it because he admitted to that. Because he apologized for his reporting and acknowledged that that the things he reported were not true and that he didn't believe they were true at the time in his apology.
So an apology. Okay, so you're saying that legally an apology is an admission of falsity.
I'm saying that it is factually true that Alex Jones admitted that he reported things that were not true and that he knew they were not true when he reported them.
And you have and again for either Pizzagate or for the dossier, I would like proof that either of those parties knew it was false.
That's what I'm telling you I have. Alex
You
Jones
have it for the you have it for the dossier because the logic still applies for the dossier. So
I'm
I'm
not
wondering why you're
talking about
ignoring that.
I'm ignoring the dossier because
Sure.
I'm not claiming the dossier is false.
Of course
or
not.
that the BuzzFeed reporting of the dossier is false.
Of
Because
course
those-
not.
Because those are not things that I'm
Even
talking
though Steele himself said 60% of it was sort of corroborated.
That doesn't
right?
make it defamation for you to report what Steele
That's
investigated.
the same admission that he's saying.
No, it's
it's
not.
No, stop.
It's
You just
totally
you don't
different.
have to know me over here. You just said that Alex Jones admitting in some capacity, whether he apologized, whether he acknowledged it through a variant context or colloquially or whatever, right? That acknowledgement was in fact proof of falsity. Well then, sir, this same acknowledgement of 60% maybe is sort of accurate is also then, under your legal jurisprudence, a fucking acknowledge of falsity.
It's
Okay,
not actually.
wait.
It is.
Can you tell me the difference? Do you think there's a difference between reporting John raped Velma versus somebody said John raped Velma? Do you see a difference between those two statements or no?
Legally doesn't matter.
Okay. So you're telling me that if a journalist or some news publication publishes any statement made by any person, that if that person's statements are malicious and false, that the journalists themselves or the news organization is acting in defamation?
Yes, you must prove falsity.
Okay.
You
That's
can't,
not
and
what
it's
we're
not defamation. And this stands for Pizzagate, and this
No,
stands
okay,
for the
wait,
dossier.
no, okay.
The dossier-
So this
again,
is
I'm going
absolutely
to restate this
wrong.
for posterity because my point stands. If it's 60% corroborated, meaning 40% non-corroborated by admission of the party, that is proof of falsity, as is the proof of falsity. in
Proof
Alex
of
Jones.
falsity doesn't
You
have
don't
to
get
do with anything
You do not
here.
get to operate on double standards, sir. You don't get to do that in our legal
No one
system.
is.
Why do you
operating
keep
on
saying double standard?
Because that's the epitome of your juxtaposition, apparently.
Okay, wait. Can we all take a breath, okay? Because this can't be real right now.
It is real. It's
It's
so real.
100% real.
Well, while
I
you
hate
guys
to tell
while you
this.
guys are taking a breath, RV, can you check your DMs, please?
You should be used to this, Jesse.
No, I said I was
I
gonna be a
love
new
every
me
single one
coming
of you.
back. Okay, I'm taking deep breaths. I'm trying my hardest. Okay, this.
Yeah, I have a person that DM me that would like to speak up, if that's okay, since you've had one proffer come in, one party come in. Could I have one come
Wait,
in? Would that
Kayla,
be
what
all right,
is your
Jesse?
background? Have you passed the bar exam and everything? You're like a lawyer, dude, right?
Yes, I am a lawyer.
Okay, that's why I brought him in. I don't want.
If you don't mind me asking, well, okay, no, don't dox yourself. Never mind. You passed the bar. That's cool. Okay, hey, can I bring in a person on my side of the coin? Is that okay?
Are they a
Since it's been
lawyer,
like
or is it gonna be like a random fucking?
Actually, I believe
It's gonna be
the
Brittany
Durfee, the Durfee is an economist, I believe.
Okay, yeah, you can bring him in. This can't be real. Hold on. So let's
is real.
say that I'm a news organization, okay? And let's say tomorrow Trump makes the statement. Okay? In the United Kingdom, 400 million white people are raping and murdering 400 million Muslims, okay? Am I not allowed? Now, let's say that I look at that statement and I'm like, that's totally fucking fake. That's so wrong. Am I not allowed to write a news story saying Trump says that 400 million white people are raping 400? I can't write that news article?
You can if you don't know that it's not false. If you
No,
know,
no, no. I know it's false. Let's say I know it's false. There's no
oh
way.
no, yeah, legally, if I can prove you knew it was false, that's illegal.
That's not defamation.
What the fuck?
No, it is. I posted the statute. Do you want me to repost it?
Yeah,
I
post
will
it
right
again.
now in
Please
real
post
time.
it again.
Let's do
Post it again.
Okay, let's do it.
Where is it being posted?
I probably in the debate discussion. So you're saying that all of those people that posted stories about Trump saying things that were knowingly false, that all of those people were engaging in defamation?
No, quite again, just read these two attachments really quick, okay? And this is, I think the only reason I use this site is because it's very layman's, instead of having to read through Cornell and Black, which are not easy on the eyes. You would have to sit here, okay. And I'm sure that the bar guy knows who Black's Law Dictionary is. I'm sure he knows how prestigious Cornell is and NYU.
These aren't statutes. So
Again, no. You're correct. This is called case study, case precedent.
Right. So we're talking about the reason why the statute is important is because the statute lists all the elements, and so we could, by looking at the statute, show that many of the elements are not met when a newspaper reporter reports on the things being said by a public official.
Again, let me
Okay,
just say
wait. Hold on. Because your own source doesn't say what you think it says. Let me read
hold
this.
on.
No, because I'm just going by what you linked. You said to ensure a
healthy free press.
The justices also declare that actual
declare-
knowledge of falsity must be proven in defamation cases involving matters of public interest which are filed by public figures.
Correct.
That's not falsity of a claim that someone else makes when you're reporting on that person making the claim.
Dude, again, if defamation stands for if you want, listen, but this all came up because you said if Alex Jones says what he says about Pizzagate, then absolutely get rid of him because it's disinformation. My point is,
Well, that has nothing to do with defamation or slander. That was a totally different argument.
Right, but this is how it came up, so let me finish my point.
Okay.
If indeed his actions relative to this Pizzagate thing were intentionally and knowingly false, and he did it anyway, and we can prove it, all the victims related to it have a case. And that would have to stand for the dossier because the criteria isn't much different.
No. Here. Okay. If Alex Jones himself is knowingly making false claims, that can be part of a defamation case. BuzzFeed reporting and publishing a dossier is not the same as them saying those claims.
It was.
Then
it doesn't matter. Let's go to the source. We're going to the first party. Can you prove that they knew that it was false? Can you prove Christopher Steele knew it was false? No.
Wait. This is what you're not understanding. No.
Can you prove Alex Jones knew what he was saying was false?
That's already happened, firstly. But secondly, even if Christopher Steele...
Which court did that happen in?
It wasn't that part of his defense as a public figure? Wasn't that what he was saying?
Yeah, he won the case. He won the custody battle because the judge accepted that it was a hyperbolic character portrayed to deliver a content. Yes.
Okay, well, wait. If you're familiar with the case, then why are you asking us?
I'm not. I'm telling you. I am telling you the jurisprudence for this. Okay, if the dossier is valid, okay, because we cannot prove anything to, like you said, he doesn't have a case in private. No, he does.
This is with the misunderstanding.
Hold on.
No,
He
because
does
whatever
have-
you're about to say is totally relevant. This is the misunderstanding. The question isn't whether the dossier is valid or not. It doesn't matter if it is or isn't. BuzzFeed was publishing that this dossier exists. This is what it says. That is the falsity that needs to be proven. Now, if BuzzFeed, for instance, published a dossier that was fake or they made their own up, that would be knowledge of falsity of the claim.
Steele can be guilty of this too. What do you
That
not
doesn't,
understand?
if Christopher Steele made it all up, it doesn't matter. They could still publish the dossier.
I didn't say they couldn't.
And it wouldn't be defamation.
I'm not arguing this. I am saying your standards, dude. You have a double stand. You have one standard you apply to a dossier that meets the same legal criterion as a Pizzagate that you would have someone banned over.
No.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't know. This isn't real.
It is real. And it's really a double standard. And,
It's not a
other than
double
this,
standard.
I
Stop
actually-
saying that.
It is.
It's not. If
Oh.
Alex Jones was saying, here are posts on 4chan that I found about Pizzagate, then it would be the same. It's not. These are original claims that are originating from Alex Jones. Alex Jones himself is falsifying claims that he's making about Pizzagate, which he has
Mr.
admitted in
Steele
custody battles.
falsifying claims
It doesn't
himself,
matter.
and he-
Steele's not the one reporting. We're not talking about Steele being sued for defamation. We're talking about BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed is reporting on claims that Steele made. If Steele is lying, that's fine. BuzzFeed can still report on Steele's claims whether or not he is lying. Alex Jones could report on claims that 4chan is making if 4chan is lying, as long as Alex Jones isn't the one making the original claims. How can you not see the difference between these two things? I can't believe this is real life right now.
Because the law
No,
doesn't
that's not
delineate
true.
between
The law
two.
doesn't agree with you.
The
You're
law
wrong.
does.
You're 100% wrong. The
Whose
very
law?
statement that you link right
Whose
here,
law?
the fucking U.S. court law, the actual knowledge
So
of this
case
is why
study and the
every single
established
person. No,
precedent doesn't matter.
because of what you were saying is true, that would mean that every single person that has ever reported on half the fucking statements Trump has made would be sued for defamation because half the shit that Trump says is a blatant fucking lie. But that's not true because that is obviously fucking retarded, and every single person in here acknowledges that that is obviously fucking retarded.
right.
You can
Sorry.
report on the statements that other celebrities make if those statements are not true because the news that you're reporting is the statements that those people made. Much the same way that BuzzFeed is not reporting that the dossier itself is true, they're reporting that that dossier exists and that it is out there.
No. Listen, bro. This is really simple.
I thought it was too, but it's not
It is.
apparently.
No, it so is. Christopher Steele knew what he was reporting in this compiled dossier. If he knew it wasn't real, and we can prove it, that is equally applicable under the law as progenerating a story, regardless of it's Steele or Joe Schmo making this dossier or shithead.
I don't know why
Dickens
you're talking
making
about
false
Steele when we're talking
reports.
about BuzzFeed. I don't know why you keep bringing up Steele.
I don't know how BuzzFeed even came up. I didn't bring
Because
them up.
BuzzFeed were the people that originally published the dossier.
Dude, the person reporting, or it doesn't actually matter.
It
You have to
definitely
prove-
matters.
No,
If-
have to prove falsity. You have to prove that they knew it was false.
Yeah, no, when you say prove falsity, you're talking about falsity of the claim that they're making. What BuzzFeed's claim was here is a
You said
dossier
Trump didn't have a case, buddy. You said there's no way he has a case in private court. He clearly does.
against he doesn't against BuzzFeed for reporting the news. They can't
No,
win.
I didn't say against BuzzFeed. I never said that. This happened 30 minutes ago, and I didn't even say that. You
Wait,
said
then what
that-
are we
you
even
said
talking
BuzzFeed.
about right now?
We're talking about Steele and Jones, right? We got the two people at the bottom. We have what they
Wait, so you're saying that
progenerated.
Trump is going to sue a British citizen in? Did Steele even publish this document? Can you be
He's the one
sued
who,
for?
no, he's the one who did the data collection.
Wait,
on
so you're saying
behalf
you can be
of-
sued for data collection?
No. You can be sued.
I
if you
can't.
knew
I'm done
that
with this
info-
topic. I can't talk about it anymore. Kayla, you can do it. This is actual fucking AIDS. I can feel the HIV
Well, you can
growing
be
in my
sued
brain.
If you knowingly publish something.
He didn't
false.
publish anything though. Still didn't publish anything. Why are you bringing him up? Are you
Okay.
gaslighting me?
It doesn't. No, it doesn't, dude. Listen, he's effectively a reporting agent for the
No,
agency.
he's not. He was a fucking agent. He's not a
Yes.
reporting agent.
No,
What
the
are you-
contract that he has with BuzzFeed actually does bind him to the company. What are you not understanding about this?
Wait,
That's
I'm
why it
sorry.
doesn't
Wait,
really-
is
no,
Steele
really,
is
that's
Steele
why it
a
doesn't
journalist?
actually matter.
Wait,
It's-
is Steele a journalist working for BuzzFeed?
No, just some informant contracted. Doesn't really matter. He was contracted legally, homie. That's the problem. He knew that was false.
Do you think he was contracted by BuzzFeed?
No, that was law firm Perkins and Coy through DNC.
so he-
But they didn't publish anything. That's not what we're talking about.
Coy published anything. I didn't say that.
Then what are you talking? Then who would get sued for? Okay, who would get sued for
It's not hard.
defamation?
In this situation,
Yeah.
most likely under that jurisprudence, what I just posted, they could prove that Steele knowingly falsely
Okay.
collected this info.
I'm just
Hold
asking
on,
you.
hold on.
So Steele would be the person who would get sued for defamation?
He would possibly be encompassed in the lawsuit, but probably not because the publishing agency was BuzzFeed. But they would use his fact set to bring BuzzFeed under the scope legally. Yeah, most likely.
So you're arguing that they would sue BuzzFeed for defamation?
Well, they can try. Personally, if I was to go for it, I would go for Steele. They might.
So you would sue a person who never published anything for defamation?
Who knowingly sought to harm someone else through misinformation.
So you think you could prove that Steele knowingly sought to harm someone through disinformation for doing research?
Well, but if I could prove that he knew it was false when he reported it, that it was uncorroborated and baseless. If I could prove that, I would. Me personally, as a prosecutor, I wouldn't go for BuzzFeed. You're right. I wouldn't personally, but I don't know that they won't.
So if I could briefly enter in to discuss something that is tangentially very related, but not specifically what you guys are talking about. You realize that the dossier that Steele wrote, like specifically is a list of claims other people made, and he's reporting that they were made. And in many cases, he specifically mentions them as being uncredible in the dossier because he's writing, this statement was made by so-and-so about this. I don't have any other way of corroborating it.
And I totally agree. It's kind of interesting. That you can see such in the document. I agree.
And I don't necessarily have any way of proving it's true, and I don't necessarily think it's true. So if you're suing Steele for defamation, you're saying that's actually basically the same as suing a reporter for reporting on what Trump says, because he's not claiming it's true. He's actually reporting on things that other people said.
I thought you were trying to Stretch Armstrong. Like, oh my God, what is this reach?
No. Listen, I understand that, but again, using this statute, it's very clear.
You haven't linked the statute, and the statute doesn't say what you think it says. This doesn't even agree with what you're saying.
This statutory precedent, I was abridging it.
This doesn't say what you think it says, though.
It clearly does.
It doesn't. The knowledge of falsity is the claim.
That it doesn't. The fact sets don't actually change much. We're talking about A and B generating or publishing falseness, and whether or not we can prove that.
But it's not falseness of what it's falseness of what you're reporting, not the truthness inside the claims that you're reporting about.
Who brought the information to the forefront of the media?
I think BuzzFeed were the first people to publicly publish the dossier.
Correct. Okay. Exactly.
And their reporting was true. The claim in question would be, does this dossier actually exist as you say it does? Do you have reasonable belief that the dossier is real and that Steele or whatever worked on it? If the answer to those questions are yes, then the falsity is gone. It's not asking about to verify every claim in the dossier. That's insane.
Again, dude, listen. Alex Jones, knowingly or not, and we don't know and can't prove it, said something, and me and you probably believe a lot of it was misnomer or false, or generally it sounded shit and indicated I get it. I understand. It was misnomer. It wasn't well executed. All that wasn't well executed. It doesn't really change the fact that we have two people who came up with information. We don't know if they knew it was false. Now you're like, well, he collected other people. Okay, Alex Jones may have done the same thing, bro.
No, and it's you don't understand that.
Destiny.
No.
I'm sorry. No, Destiny. He in this case with Pizzagate, he did.
It's the difference between reporting on someone else making a claim versus you making the claim yourself. Don't do the sir meme. Oh God.
I'm not. I meant sir. I don't mean like Darth. I actually believe other people are sirs, all right? Like I have a 19th century corniness about me. Sorry. Point is, I believe that I can't see another way under jurisprudence to even interpret it. If one party brings information to a media agency, okay, so in this instance, let me do this very calmly. I'll do this the last time, and then you guys can tell me I'm wrong and I got it all wrong. Hold on, though. We've got Alex Jones on the left. We got Steele on the right. Doesn't matter. Let's assume they each talk to a network of estimated 12 to 20 to 30 people. and they extrapolate all this data. And they don't know that it's actually not true, and they don't know that it's true. Then they take this data and they apply, whether it's a really nice dossier that looks like a legal document from MI6, or whether or not it's like a play with puppets, or it's a TV show or whatever. They take this information and they propagate it into the media. Now, under current jurisprudence, if it's in the during the proceedings of a public issue or in relation to a public issue, and it has to do, and in fact this would apply both ways, but clearly under the precedent here, it's like, well, no, if you're a public figure and it's getting basically they have to prove that they knew what they were saying was false if it's targeting a public figure and it's a public issue.
Only if they report the claims as true, not that they just report that other people are making the claims.
Let me conclude. On the right, we have Steele. On the left, we got Jones. They both pooled their data. They pushed it out, and they don't know it's true. And
Steele never published his data.
No. They pushed it out, right? Whether or not Alex Jones brought it to his news guy, and then they published, or whether or not Steele brought, again, these networks accounted for, these pools accounted for, these groups that they.
You're hand-waving the central part of this case.
Not.
This is the most important part.
No, I'm not, because Alex Jones did go through a similar reporting aggregation process to understand, to put out.
No, he didn't. Alex Jones made original claims. BuzzFeed did not.
No, he didn't. He actually aggregated celebrity claims. That's what he did. No, and I'm not saying celebrities are the most credible. I'm just saying I'm a for the law guy, man. Bastiat is my fucking I like heart and soul. But I'm really big about having the law be unbelievably uniform. I'm not actually a pro.
You don't have. It's not. Nothing you're saying makes any sense.
It does.
Alex Jones did not simply just report other people's claims.
The reason I know I'm not crazy is because at least half the people in this chat understand what I'm saying. At least half.
Okay, can you bring in more people with law backgrounds? I don't know if I have any other my law dudes awake, but if you can bring in somebody else with a law background, I would rather go with that than random fucking loonies on Discord.
Hey guys, if any of you have law backgrounds and want to chime in, just
not law backgrounds, like pass the fucking bar.
I was a paralegal for 2 years. It's not really. I don't compare it to a bar. Okay, I should have gone out for the bar, all by all rights. Hey, wait a minute, Durfee, didn't you want to chime in? I'm sorry, Durfee, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, but the subject that I wanted to chime in on is completely different than what you guys are talking about.
All right, can we be done with this and then? I don't think we're ever gonna agree on this.
No, yeah, Omni, listen, hey, dude, listen. Despite all our disagreements, despite all of it, dude, you're a solid mind. I really appreciate you coming by our Discord. I really appreciate you being active. Even if we don't agree, I'd love to hash this out some other time.
We can. I hate you. I legitimately fucking hate you. You are one of the people. You are one of the people that I would seek to deplatform. You unironically told me in here that Obama should be held accountable for the fucking housing crisis. You are beyond fucking retarded. I'm not even like, holy shit.
Sir,
no, I have never done a standard like that. I have never done a standard like that. My only standard has been continuing the trend of the previous administration. Which I didn't say that means that I don't even know how you could possibly get to Obama.
I didn't even say that verbatim, so that's a misnomer. I did say the housing crisis. I did say something like the housing crisis came right around Obama, but that was moreover like a point of illustrating that you had sort of this one. You had one applied perspective to one situation, you had another applied one to another.
No, it's the exact same. Obama's early presidency suffered greatly under the horrible impact of the housing crisis. Trump's presidency is benefiting greatly from the incredibly loose monetary policy and other economic stimulus that was enacted under Obama. These two claims are entirely consistent. No, there is no doubles. You keep seeing double standards everywhere.
Sorry, go ahead. I would say, so the principle is that a president who doesn't change policies is not responsible for the economy in the early years of their presidency, and in fact the previous president created that situation.
To a large extent, yes. Now, you can continue those policies in a positive way, which is fine. But my issue is with people saying that, like, Trump has turned things around, or that Trump is fixing what Obama did, or that Trump is doing some new shit. And it's like, no, the economy has just been, like, massively fucking growing since 2007, and it's been continually posting all-time highs since 2013.
Yeah, no, again, I could even concede to you the economic points, and I don't concede. Sorry, I mind conceding those to you. Again, my bigger issue was actually the legal one, and I really hope, dude. I hope in the future. I really hope you understand why this double standard is dangerous. I do, but maybe you don't.
I don't see it.
It's not a double standard. That's the point.
Right. Right.
So,
There's no double standard, even though we have two parties who generated information we can't
hold on,
prove
Harvey.
false or not.
Harvey, hold
Except
on. Yeah,
Alex
Harvey.
Jones generated and BuzzFeed reported. The two, that's the
Okay,
central.
Alex Jones. No, Alex Jones reported on witnesses.
No, he made up his own
No, he
unique
did.
claims.
I can literally link you to interviews, the archived interviews with people reporting on Pizzagate. You can literally do that. It's not a big deal. It's well known that there were witnesses there.
Okay.
Like that, and that's the whole funny thing is that, yeah, there was a pool of witnesses Alex Jones reported on. It's a pool of witnesses Steele reported on. They all brought the stuff back. He gave the stuff to BuzzFeed. They published it. Alex Jones gave it to his fucking free LLCs. They published it. Doesn't really change the facts. Sorry.
So one thing that does change the facts is that Steele never at any point reported the claims as true or his own. He only reported them as coming from other sources.
Right.
And whereas
I know
Alex
the
Jones,
law. I get it. But
whereas Alex Jones specifically reported the claims as true as his own claims.
well, that's again, this is because of the, we're talking about like the private, we're talking about one person who's commissioned through a DNC, through a legal firm. I'm talking about one person who self-publishes.
No, actually,
LLC.
I was treating Steele. I was treating the act of Steele reporting to the DNC as a publication for the purpose of that argument. I was describing how Steele only reported that other people said things, whereas Alex Jones reported that these things were true.
You want us to cover Pizzagate?
Again,
all I know is God help us.
I just think that these cases, to me, and I'm literally not partisan. Like I guess that sounds too woke. I'm sort of partisan. Like I tend
Here's
to be
a
on the
super
right.
cut of Alex Jones literally
but-
saying Pizzagate is real. I would love to see CNN or BuzzFeed reporting that the dossier was real.
Right, but that's like the same thing as Steele saying, Trump got pissed on.
We're not talking about
No,
it's not even because Steele didn't say that. He said that he found information.
Again, bro, hold on. You're technically obfuscating something that doesn't change.
I'm being crystal clear, and it is totally vital to the nature.
Bro, it doesn't change under the law.
The law.
No, it doesn't. I sent you the jurisprudence, bro.
What you said me doesn't agree with what you're saying.
So this is what I keep trying. No. This is what we keep trying to tell you.
It clearly does.
What Steele reported was that someone said something, not that it was true. So the thing that Steele reported
that's what Alex Jones reported.
No, he said
Yes,
Pizzagate is
because the court has
real.
ruled that his character and your literal interpretations are hyperbolic. A district court has ruled this. So aside from his hyperbole,
first of all, family court isn't like federal district court. So
but the case will totally, dude. Are you telling me they wouldn't take? Okay.
Yes, I am telling you that the position of a family court.
Really? Character assessments aren't done through family court, really?
I'm not telling you that. I'm telling you that a family court ruling is not binding on anyone else.
I didn't say it was binding. I said it will absolutely be brought up in court as a character assessment. It will totally speak to the validity of any charges that could stem. I don't know where the hell you went to law school if you don't believe that.
Wait, how can you say that when you haven't been to law school? What the fuck?
What? I just said I used to work as a paralegal.
You haven't taken the bar. How can you tell somebody else? I don't know where you went to law school.
I'd rather do data security. That doesn't mean that. Do you know that any sitting citizen can go out for the bar, Destiny? You can go tomorrow.
Yeah, but I wouldn't pass it.
I would. With flying colors.
Wait, then what? How much?
You definitely would.
No, I'm serious. There's a lot of people in here who would. Patriot Act probably would too. Actually.
Okay.
It's not like, I'm sorry, Mr. Law Guy. It's not that big of a deal unless you go to a really nice place. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm from New York, bro. NYU. I mean, okay. Anyway, fuck all that. The point stands. The point stands. If I'm wrong, you can say.
Wait. How much does it cost to take the bar exam? Do you know, Kayla? Do you have to pay like a fee for the exam? Or?
That depends on the testing center.
It depends on the state that you're.
Is this like less than $1,000, or would it be more?
Okay. The actual amount is less than $1,000, depending. But they recently redid a lot of things, and now there's like a multi-state bar exam where there wasn't for ever. And I have no idea how that's changed the pricing system because
it's $750 in New York, I believe, right now.
We should raise money for this guy to take the bar exam.
No, dude, I don't want to work in law for this very reason.
You don't have to get a job there just by passing the bar.
I find it to be unbelievably gross. The ethics associated with this kind of bullshit, if I may be so coy. Yeah. That's why I'm in data sec and not holding a bar and practicing. My brother practices.
Okay.
No one is asking you to
Again.
practice law.
Yeah, no one.
We're
Yeah,
saying
but that's
take the bar because then we could laugh about how badly you failed. That's why we work.
Thanks. Thank you. Very nice.
okay. Yeah. Okay. So I think we're done with this topic.
Durfee, are you there, bro? You should bring up your
Yeah.
Anyway, it was really nice talking to you guys. Thank you for entertaining the debate. Thank you.